I got to admit, I took a lot of pleasure in watching the Lakers go down. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Not a fan. Never have been. Can't imagine being a Lakers fan, but nevertheless. So anyway, there's that. I mean, they ended up getting knocked off last night. Here's the problem. I know LeBron's doing basically them and, well, Nick Nurse, I think the 76ers are going to file some kind of a complaint against the league, against the officiating crew. I read that today. I think it was in USA Today. But I know that LeBron and Anthony Davis are complaining about the officiating. But you know what? You had a 20-point lead, man, and you just frittered it away. It drives me nuts when I see teams complain about a call when, in essence, you had a 20-point lead, and Denver was not going to be denied. You didn't have an answer. So anyway, that was it. So watching both of those teams go down last night. Now you watched both. I watched the Brewers game, and that was tough because usually you don't see this team commit a bunch of errors, but last night a couple of errors did them in, and that was kind of tough to watch. However, did you watch the New York Knicks 76ers game? Not a huge fan of the 76ers, but God, is it painful. You feel for Embiid, don't you? Just watching him try to get up and down the court.
Yeah, his body just won't hold up for him. So I do feel bad a little bit about that. But then I watched his post-game press conference, and he's got his head in his hands. And it's like, come on, man, we got to grow up a little bit, and we got to face the music, even if it's just for 4 or 5 minutes. Like, I'm not asking you to do a half-hour press conference and be in a great mood, but let's grow up a little bit.
Well, Anthony Davis got up and walked out.
Same
thing.
Let's be an adult. That's all I ask.
Just the petulance of who they are. You know, I get it. Embiid's, just beating his own ass to get up and down the floor. He can't hardly walk. And I get it. He's frustrated. Maybe he doesn't want to get fined because he feels like, they had a foul. Then again, Maxey pushed off. If you couldn't see that, then you were blind. So that wasn't called either. So I guess it could have gone either way. They kind of let him play. But man, it's just, it's crazy. So it's one thing if it's a battle back and forth and it's a 2-point game the entire way, and it comes down to more so a call than anything, or a blatant non-call. Okay, I get it. I understand that. But for the Lakers' choice, in the Lakers' circumstance, they had a 20-point lead, and they just let it get away last night watching that game. And anyway, watching everybody at Denver go nuts. And sometimes, you know what? You're on the road. Home team's going to get the call. You got to play for that. But they had a 20-point lead. 20-point lead and watched it all just kind of get frittered away. So not a fan, and not sorry one bit for the Lakers and the demise. And we all saw this coming. They're now what? 0-10? 0-10 against the Nuggets in the last 10 appearances.
They've lost 9 or 10 in a row. And I don't see, again, I think everyone's a little dramatic with these series. It's over, after game 1 or 2, but I don't. What a gut punch for the Lakers. How do you come back from that? Even though you're going home, you had that game and you let it get away.
Right. No, I agree. So they now got to go home and try to regroup in some way, shape, or form. And I'll be honest with you, I think that was their best shot at getting a win. Getting a win.
Got to get a road win at some point. That was the one, and you let it get away.
Yeah, I think that was their best shot at getting a win. You needed Denver to play off a little bit, and you needed to play a really great game and have supporting cast around you. And they had a lot of that last night, and they still weren't able to win. So that might be it for the Lakers. That might be it. And I know D'Angelo Russell's out there on Twitter and such, and say we all saw it, and I get it. He got clubbed in the face. I understand it. Sometimes those things aren't going to happen. You're not going to get the call. So anyway, but I watched that last night a little bit. So we watched some NBA postseason. Tonight, the NBA postseason continues. Got the Bucks back at home at the Fiserv Forum. Game 2 against Indiana. Now, Giannis was at practice and moving, and as Doc Rivers kind of put it, looking quick, which is great. But I know he's listed as doubtful. There's no way I'm playing him tonight. None. Absolutely nada. Not going to happen. I think right now, a little bit of house money. And I think tonight you try to repeat what you did in the first half of game 1. Does the second half of game 1 bother you, Grant?
No, not really. I know some people are, well, Dame didn't show up, and he didn't have to. He only took a couple shots. So, no, it doesn't bother me a lot. If they had Giannis and they let a big lead get away and get closer, it might bother me a little more, but not really, no.
I don't know if that's a cautionary tale. I don't know. And I keep thinking, the Bucks got off to a tremendous start. They did a lot of great things in that first half. Dame was on. They were moving the ball. They were getting boards. I mean, they were doing a lot of things really, really well. And they were playing defense in the first half. What bothers me is the offensive boards, second chance points, and third quarter. So we'll see what happens tonight. See if we're going, nah, they didn't need to. Because I kept thinking to myself, you're right. I'm on your side. I want to believe you. But don't championship teams get up 20 or 30 points and just put the hammer down and blow you out? Or are we just looking at the NBA going, there's always a run. There's always a run from the opponent. There's always a run. There's always an adjustment. And then you kind of let things kind of even back out, and then you take the win from there. So am I being too hard on the Bucks for that third quarter? So we'll see.
By the way, I don't think so. No, if you want to nitpick and say that that's room for improvement, I think that's 100% fair. I'm not going to pull my hair out over it, especially when they're shorthanded without their best player.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, because I want to be right there with you. I want to go, no big deal. But I've just seen this before. It's always the foreshadow. It's always there. It's always lurking in the back of my mind that is something we saw all season long. What makes us think it's going to change? Like, it's just easy. So let's say tonight, it's not a 20, 30-point game. It's a 4-point game. And then you come out and have that kind of a third quarter. That's when it starts to bother me. Because I'll go, that third quarter's been their nemesis all season long. Why should I have expected different? So we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic tonight. Because like you said, it's not a series till you win on the road. So Indianapolis, the Pacers got to win on the road tonight. So we'll see what happens.
That third quarter is always the most important quarter, Bill. My entire life of watching the NBA games, it's who's coming out of halftime buttoned up and ready to go. So you're not wrong about the third. If it looks horrible tonight, then I'll probably be more worried.
Yeah.
So I think your take is 100% fair.
Going back to last night and just watching umpires in general, Sack says, how close is it to the league actually getting rid of umpires altogether? This has been a terrible year. It's getting hard to watch. I don't think they're going to get rid of them anytime soon. And I don't mind it. Now, some of the stuff, Angel Hernandez, he's become the country Joe West of the umpires. When Joe West left, there needed to be a bad guy, and Angel Hernandez stepped right into that role very easily. And then Hunter Wendelstadt throwing out Aaron Boone the other day because a fan yelled at him. But they're human beings. They're human beings. And let's be honest. How much fun would it be if you don't have a strike zone to complain about? Because the calls on the base paths, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The only time you see arguments now is balls and strikes. And they're not overly ridiculous. They're on the corners. They're right there. It's not like and remember, what you're seeing on the screen is like over the plate is where the ball is getting caught is in a different territory at times. So it's all in the perspective over the shoulder of the catcher. So I'm not as hard on the umpires as some are. I like it. I like the arguments. I like the close calls. I like guys getting punched out and not agreeing with it. I like that's all part of the game. I hate to go back to when I was a kid and playing ball and high school and beyond. If it's close, swing. And here's the thing. Most of the time on close pitches, even the batter's not positive. He's waiting to hear if he gets rung up or not. You can tell by the body language. There are some where guys kind of move their knees to get out of the way, or they'll lean back to get out of the way, and it's called a strike, and they're looking at you like, are you crazy? Okay, I get that. But tell me there's not often where you see a guy, he'll take a pitch, and it'll be called third strike, and he'll turn around like, he'll say something like, you got to be kidding me. But he doesn't like immediately step out of the box as if he knows it's a ball. Even in his own mind, it's a question mark. So if it's a question mark, swing at the damn thing. But I personally like the umpires. The majority of them, really good. Really good. I don't mind it at all. And like Steve says, last night the strike zone was very suspect. I saw on Twitter there was a few people that were complaining, and I'm thinking, okay, I went back and I can rewind it. Got a DVR. I go back, I rewind it. It's not that far off the plate. It's and you don't know if it's a big sweeping breaking ball that actually crosses the corner of the plate and is caught a little bit low and away. But if it came over the plate, what do you do about it? It's a strike. So I'm not screaming and bitching at the umpires. I'm having too much fun watching baseball right now, just enjoying baseball. We got good stuff today. Speaking of baseball, we're going to talk with our buddy Chuck Freeman today. He makes his usual Tuesday appearance from the Locked On Brewers podcast. We'll talk to Chucker. Also, Ross Tucker is going to be here today. We'll talk to Ross about the NFL draft. What time is Ross going to be? Do you know? Grant, off the top of your head?
No, I'm trying to nail something down with him because I talked to him yesterday and he said we might have to, I'll let you know in the morning. So I'm hoping that any minute here we get it nailed down.
Okay, cool. Well, we're supposed to talk to Ross Tucker today. He's always great. So we'll talk to Ross as well. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Stay tuned. Whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Beautify your entertainment space with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Turn your ordinary space into something extraordinary with brand new Pella windows. The luxurious look, sleek design, and custom colors available is guaranteed to give your home the extra pop to entertain and keep you comfortable. At Pella, we see windows differently. We have the highest rated energy efficient products and a complete range of durable, functional, and high quality products that bring out the best of your home. Plus, getting the perfect windows and doors for your home has never been easier. Right now, get 0% interest for up to 36 months. Or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months if you book before April 30th. That's right, get 0% interest for up to 36 months, or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months. If you book before April 30th, take ownership of your living space and make it a place worth living with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Murray makes a move. Get it down. The Nuggets have won.
Can you take us through that last play, just what happened, what unfolded, and what was, I don't know if you were screened or what happened on the last play?
Your mom made a shot.
What happened on the last play? Can you talk about it?
I can't talk about it. I'm going to be a crybaby and leave.
Anthony Davis getting up and walking out. What's happening? Hopefully you're enjoying your day, the Bill Michaels Show, as we continue on this Tuesday. Grant, finally, I got out yesterday. I got to tell you, I am out of shape. Oof. I started working out again. I'm getting back into shape. But yesterday, I decided to go out and take down the trees that I've been complaining about. And I wanted to get at least the front of my yard done. And for those that didn't know and weren't listening yesterday, when we had that really heavy snow, maybe the second to last snow, it was heavy. And I had trees. That's when I didn't have power over the weekend. I think the trees snapped on a Friday. And I had 4 or 5 trees, 5, I think, total, 2 really big ones that half of the tree came down and snapped in half. And so yesterday I had to go out and start cutting them down. So I took the chainsaw and I started cutting down the trees. And I don't have a place. It was really windy. And I thought, well, if I could burn them, I would just throw a couple of Duraflame logs in the fire pit and start chopping these things up and burning these logs. But it was so windy yesterday. You can't burn in the neighborhood on a windy day. You just don't do it. And I don't do it. So I'm like, I don't have any place to put these things. So I had to stack it in my driveway. I've got a pile of brush now in my driveway and logs that's tall. I got a 7-foot cargo trailer for my motorcycles. It's taller than the trailer until I threw the logs on top. Then the logs kind of smashed it down a little bit. But it's taller than the trailers. And I took down 3 trees in the front. I still have 1 really big one in the back and then 2 other small ones in the back that I got to take down. But at least I got my front yard done. I got the grass cut for the first time. God, that tractor. I love that tractor. It sits in the shed I don't do a damn thing to it. I put a little stable in the gasoline. I don't do anything to it. I just turn it off and I come back, push the brake, boom, fires right up. I mean, like, cranks for maybe 5 seconds and then fires right up. I love that tractor. God, I love that tractor. So I jumped on the tractor yesterday and cut the grass and got some yard work done. It was not a bad day yesterday. A little breezy, but I lugging all that brush back and forth. I did a little over 13,000 steps during that time. And I was carrying the logs and they're still fresh. They haven't really seasoned because the moisture's still in them. So they're heavier. Oh my God. I'm like, God, am I out of shape? There's a couple of times I'm like, I got to stop and take a breather. Out of shape. Down more than a few pounds, but out of shape. But I finally got the front of my yard done yesterday. So I was happy about that. You don't have to worry about that, do you, Grant? You just go home, turn the key, you're good to go.
Well, that's true. I suppose I don't have to worry about trees. I was going to say I worry about you tipping over in your yard because we got a draft show to do Thursday night. I can't do that by myself. So you at least got to make it to Friday night, Bill.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, I will. We've got the draft show coming up on Thursday night, and we'll do round 1 of the NFL draft. I believe I said yesterday 6 to 11. I think it's 7 to 11. I think the draft officially starts 8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central. And I even told my buddy Jim Callow up in WMAM in Menominee, Marinette. He texted me yesterday. He said, what time you guys go on? And I told him 6 to 11. It's 7 to 11. The draft gets underway at 7 o'clock. We go on the air at 7 p.m. on Thursday night. So round one of the NFL draft will be right here. You can hear all the action. You can hear pick-by-pick coverage. We're going to bring it all to you. The 2024 NFL draft will be right here on many of these same stations. And if they're not carrying it, then you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, on the app, The Zone, the WOZN, The Zone Madison app. Listen to us on many different platforms. Go to the website, thebillmichaels.com. So we'll be here for the NFL draft coming up on Thursday night. So we are 50-something hours away, I think we are.
It's funny. I had SportsCenter on this morning, and ESPN's already got the graphic, and it was like 58 hours away as of this morning. So
okay.
I think you're in the right ballpark.
Something like that, like 54, 56. I don't know what it is, but yeah, we're there. We're getting close. You can almost taste it. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine, literally, as I'm sitting here on the air, she works for the Lions. She just texted me and said, "Are we coming over for the draft?" So we're gearing up. We're not going to be there. Mike Clemens is going to be in Green Bay, by the way. So Mike will be in Green Bay. Grant's going to be in the studio. I'll be in the studio. We'll be getting your reaction to all of this as well, and we'll be giving you pick-by-pick coverage of the NFL draft. So looking forward to it. Should be a good time. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, feel free to go ahead and do so. This was from Mark. Mark says, hey, Unit, it was one bad game by the Brewers yesterday. Let's not overreact, people. One game is not going to kill us. However, the pitching staff and the injuries that are starting to mount up might. Do you see them making a trade sooner rather than later? Well, first of all, you had, two guys now? Wade Miley's down with the elbow inflammation. He's down again. So that's tough. Wade, am I missing this? Was I watching it or listening to Wade Miley get emotional?
I think he might be done. I don't want to put that on him. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but based on the injury and what he said about it and the way he was acting, I think his career might be over, but at the very least, he's going to be out a long time.
Now they called it inflammation, right? Are they doing an MRI on it today?
Well, everyone with the Brewers who gets injured needs a second opinion, because the last couple of times guys have gone for second opinions, they've found something significant that was missed the first time. He's dealt with bone spurs in the past, he said, but there's something with floating bodies. Have you ever heard that term before?
Yep.
That's what he's dealing with, I guess.
So what happens with a floating body? It's either a piece of calcium that is built up over the years, because if you get a bone spur, that's like an area, it's kind of like a callus on your bone. That's basically what it is. Your bone begins to callus. And, excuse me, and you can have a piece of that. I mean, I'm talking a minute piece break off. And it can feel like every time you go to throw, it's like something stabbing you. You may not be Tommy John surgery, but if you got to cut the elbow open and go in and get whatever this body is that's floating around in there, there's still recovery time. You can't just all of a sudden go out and start winging it after that, even though they can do it arthroscopically for the most part. It's the recovery time on that is at least a month, if not more. But if you've ever had a floating body, have you ever had that, Grant?
No, I don't do enough physical activity to get an injury like that. I throw a baseball a couple of times. I'm like, damn, my arm hurts.
It's painful. It is, I can't even, you can be fine. I mean, fine. Walking around, whatever. And it can take you down like a knife. I had one in my ankle years ago. And you're walking along, you're fine, no problem. And I used to think when I was younger that it was like my tendon dislocated, like it came out of the groove or something. And it wasn't. What it was is that body, whatever was in my ankle, and I had broke my ankle 3 times and sprained it numerous. but it must have chipped. And whatever that little body of whatever was, every now and then it would get lodged under the tendons, come down and under your heel and attach to like your heel and in the middle of your foot. And every now and then that little body, that little piece of whatever would get underneath that tendon. And oh my God, you're walking along, you're fine. And the next thing you know, you can't move. It's so painful. So that's almost worse than straining something. You'd rather strain something because at least, you can get the inflammation to go down and rest it and you're going to be okay. With something floating around in there, if they don't go get it, it's just, you never know when it's going to pop up. And I've had that happen. So I get it. I understand how that's not good, but it can also be, if you think it's a body floating around in there, it can also be something else. It could be something in the elbow. It could be something that requires Tommy John surgery, or maybe a different type of tendon in the elbow and the ulnar nerve or something. So you're not really sure, but hopefully it's not too serious and he can just come back after a little bit of rest, because you were kind of relying on him. You really were relying on Wade Miley. And now here's the question, and this is what our Mark said, was do they go out and get a pitcher sooner rather than later? I don't know what's available. And yeah, I don't know what team's going to be willing to give up pitching at this point, because it's so early in the season. Nobody wants to give up quality pitching. I don't know. I mean, the only other guy that's sitting out there that we talked about yesterday is Trevor Bauer. He's just sitting there. Maybe you got to go get him. You don't want to be the team that has the lead in the division, looks really good, looks like you got a lot of promise, and because of your reluctance to go out and get a specific pitcher because of some of the baggage he carries from the past, that you don't want to be that team to let it all slip away. So I think Trevor Bauer might be that option, unless they've got somebody else right now down in the minors. And Trevor, let's be honest, Trevor Bauer, didn't he pitch in Japan last year and did not have a great season? It wasn't like he was lighting it up over there. He wasn't it wasn't the Trevor Bauer of old. That wasn't it. It wasn't like he was over there lighting it up like he did when he played for Cincinnati. He was a very average Trevor Bauer at best. So that might not even be the answer. But then again, you know what? Bring him into the bigs. Maybe the concentration, maybe things get a little bit better. Who knows? But it's on paper, beginning of the season, it looked like all you got to do is, get another run, be sustainable. Now we're back to where we started. You're kind of worrying about pitching again. All right, let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a whole lot more to get to. This portion of the program brought to you by our good buddy Dwayne at Dwayne's Cover It All up in Wausau. DUANES, Dwayne's Cover It All.com. And it doesn't matter if you've got, say, you got a boat, you got a boat cover, you got upholstery, you got a bimini top, you got an RV, you got something, say some of your outside furniture at home that you want to, got to get repaired rather than buy new. How about office furniture, the seating and such, the backs of chairs you want to get redone rather than going out and buying all new? It's a great way not only to save money, but to make it like brand new. Office furniture, gym equipment, awnings, boat covers, you name it, he can do it, and he does it great. The best. Hands down. Somebody in Chicago not long ago heard us talking about it, sent, I don't know how many stories this office building was, but sent all the furniture to him to get redone. They saved tens of thousands of dollars. That's what he can do for you. Go to Dwayne's, DUANES, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That's Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. And a big supporter of our motorcycle ride. As a matter of fact, he rides in it. Big supporter of the motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 1st. Mark your calendars, because on May 1st, we drop the details, and it's big. It's going to be great. Trust me, It's going to be great. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May. Score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries. 5 times the entries on drawing days and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes? Slugger, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you, the Bill Michaels Show. We are back. This portion of the program brought to you by One Collision County Line in Menominee Falls. Love this place. When I had the road rage when the guy hit us from behind and kind of did some damage to the bumper, the rear quarter, the rear passenger door. Took it over to One Collision, and they were fantastic. Did a great job. They work great with insurance companies. They work great with your deductible. They let you know every step of the process what your car's going through. So the day they get it in, they'll text you, hey, it's coming in for body work. And then after a day or so, you'll find out that, hey, it's going over to paint, or they primed it. It's getting ready for paint. Then when it's done, it's drying. They'll tell you when to come and get it. It's going into detail, whatever. I mean, and it looked like the day I took it off of the showroom floor. It was beautiful when they got done with it. I mean, beautiful. That is One Collision County Line in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. It is worth, wherever you're at, it's worth the drive. 262-251-1700. 262-251-1700. Thanks to One Collision County Line for fixing me up, and they can do the same to you too. Good stuff. I think the consensus that for the Brewers anyway, at least via the fandom, is that Trevor Bauer might be the answer, at least to give him a shot from what I'm seeing. Mike, Chris, Dave, Ethan all say, I think I would give Trevor Bauer an opportunity. Ethan says, yeah, he's kind of a nut. You might have to take the good with the bad. Do you think the clubhouse is strong enough to manage him if he's problematic? But if he can still throw the baseball, maybe that might be an option. That's the question. Like, nobody has taken a shot on this guy. Nobody. And there's clubs out there that need pitching just as bad as the Brewers do. That's why you kind of raise an eyebrow and you go, is it just that clubs aren't that desperate? Or what else do they know behind closed doors that we don't? Because there's not a club took a shot at him. What was Grant? Can you do me a favor? Can you find his numbers from last year in the over in Japan?
I'm all over it.
Can you see what he ended up throwing last year? Because it wasn't great. I know there was a lot of people expecting him to really light it up, and he didn't. And Dan says, look, he's trying to make a comeback. I would think that he's going to be on his best behavior for the first year or so to then sign him for a low deal to a prove-it deal. He's not getting interest from, as far as I could tell, anybody. There's got to be more there. Otherwise, maybe it's just the fact that there's not a team in baseball that wants to deal with the PR. You know, they have that story brought all up again, and you're the team hiring this guy and bringing him in, and he does have some pretty outrageous appetites, I guess. So maybe that's part of it when it comes to the exploits that he's had with a woman and other women in the past. So maybe nobody wants that guy around. Maybe it would draw protests or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But I can't believe that He was that good a couple of years ago. And now, granted, he hasn't pitched in the bigs now. This is his third year out. Because last year he pitched in Japan. The year before that, he was suspended. The year before that is when he signed the contract with the Dodgers and they cut him loose. And he pitched, I don't even know if he pitched. He pitched a couple of games, maybe, something like that. But I don't even think he threw too much. So he was kind of out for a year and a half, year and 3/4, and then came back and threw baseball over in Japan last year. And didn't go back to Japan. As far as I know, he's not pitching in Japan again this year. So it's like nobody wanted him. Maybe he's just too much of a headache. So that could be as well. Maybe even Japan didn't want him, and they're like, nah, he doesn't have it anymore.
I also just, it might have nothing to do with off the field stuff. He might just not be any good. He's not pitched in the majors, like you said, since 2021. And well, he used to be great. Okay, well, Eric Lauer was great for a year, and Yoeli Chacin was great for a year. So I'm all for adding somebody. I don't think Trevor Bauer makes much sense. I think I found his Japan stats, but I also, it's a different website. He had an ERA around 3, threw about 130 innings last year in 2023 for the DENA Bay Stars in Yokohama.
Okay.
I can't really find the awesome stats. It's not on his normal Baseball Reference page. They don't include his Japanese stats on here.
Right. Yeah, you can't. You'd have to almost go to like a Wikipedia site or something and then have a link to it or something. So, and Steve, you're right. John Rocker, same thing. John Rocker, though, he got booted out of the league because of racism. Remember, it wasn't John Rocker didn't have a, kind of a weird experience with a female. He was caught on tape just blathering racism. And that was the end of that. Because John Rocker was still a hell of a pitcher. It wasn't because of his arm. He was, I think it was an interview or something where the microphone was rolling like in a car or something like that. And he went off. He just was blathering racism and made some comments, and he was done. Just like Donald Sterling, same thing. Behind closed doors. I think it was his ex-wife at the time. Ex-wife or girlfriend, remember? God, Donald Sterling was such a creeper. And then he was blathering racism behind closed doors, and that leaked out, and that was the end of that. And then it cost him, then again, he did make money, but it cost him a franchise. But then again, in the end, he bought the franchise for pittance and sold it for, God, what was it? Close to $1 billion, I think. I think he made like $800 million on the sale. So he laughed all the way to the bank, But even, right, Steve, John Gruden, same thing. John Gruden's emails got released. Still haven't heard the end of that. John Gruden has turned down the NFL at every chance. And that just very quietly went away. Very quietly went away because it was never just fully dismissed. So we'll see if maybe that thing resurfaces at some point, because I couldn't wait for the subpoenas to be issued to find out what was on those servers. Because Gruden was like, look, you singled me out. And we all know why, because he was very critical of the commissioner. But his team wanted the servers, and the NFL just keeps fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. They wanted it dismissed, and the judge wouldn't dismiss it. So, yeah. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. The Brewers need arms. Is there anybody out there? That you would say, you know what? They need to go do this. This would be a really, really, really good fit. Hey, coming up May 1st, we are going to be live in Franklin, Wisconsin at the Lux Golf Bays in Franklin, Wisconsin. And it's going to be an announcement type of broadcast. We're excited about it. Some of our support sponsors will be there. And we are going to make the majority of the details for the motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 1st will be unveiled. It's kind of like it's a made-for-radio show now. It's not just something you post on the internet anymore. But there's a lot of detail to it. So the story will come out on May 1st, but we will be live at Lux Golf Bays down in Franklin, Wisconsin. Tremendous partner, tremendous sponsor. The Rock Ventures area down there, great people. We appreciate their support for all of this. They've been with us now the last couple of years for the motorcycle ride. So we are excited to do the broadcast Wednesday, May 1st. Next Wednesday, we're going to be at the Lux Golf Bays down in Franklin, Wisconsin. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Ready?
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Beautify your entertainment space with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Turn your ordinary space into something extraordinary with brand new Pella windows. The luxurious look, sleek design, and custom colors available is guaranteed to give your home the extra pop to entertain and keep you comfortable. At Pella, we see windows differently. We have the highest rated energy efficient products and a complete range of durable, functional, and high quality products that bring out the best of your home. Plus, getting the perfect windows and doors for your home has never been easier. Right now, get 0% interest for up to 36 months. Or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months if you book before April 30th. That's right, get 0% interest for up to 36 months, or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months. If you book before April 30th, take ownership of your living space and make it a place worth living with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. Up and running. running. Feel good today. Ross Tucker. Ross Tucker. Going to join us coming up after the top of the hour from the Ross Tucker podcast. Former NFL lineman. Always great to get Ross on, man. Going to talk some NFL draft with him coming up here shortly. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Gotta let you know about our friends at the Irish Cultural Heritage Center. And you know that it wasn't that long ago, over St. Patrick's Day weekend, we went over there to see Cynthian. They have a few really good acts still left before the summer gets here. So if you're looking for just a fun night out, we had such a great time. And we took some friends with us who had never been there, never knew where it was, what it was. And they had a blast. And we went there, saw the show, went down downtown Milwaukee after the fact, and caught some dinner downtown. It was just a great night. The Irish Cultural Heritage Center right there on West Wisconsin Avenue. Or if you got a wedding and you don't want to spend a ton of money and you just want a really stoic old building that's just got so much coolness and history to it, maybe a meeting space, this is great. It's great. 414-345-8800, 414-345-8800. That's the Irish Cultural Heritage Center. Again, 414-345-8800. Go ahead and get a hold of Corey over there, and he can help you out. They've been around a long time. They've been around 32 years, as a matter of fact, that they've been doing it. But that's the Irish Cultural Heritage. And you don't need to be Irish to use it, by the way. Irish Cultural Heritage Center on West Wisconsin Avenue, just west of the Marquette campus, just east, by the way, of the Rave, where everybody, knows the Rave, where the Rave is, just over there, and saw a couple of bands not that long ago, as a matter of fact. I love going to the Rave, some new music and such that, some of the up-and-comers that are on the way. It's always great to go over there and see some good acts. But that's the Irish Cultural Heritage Center. Good stuff. Mike says, I want to see Bill throw a knuckleball. I used to be able to throw a knuckleball when I was young. I haven't tossed a knuckleball in forever. There's an art to a knuckleball. I mean, a true knuckleball. There's an art to it. And that's the reason you don't see it anymore. A lot of people don't teach it. What they teach now is a little bit of the split finger. And if you can get a lot of break, all you need really is if you have now, remember back in the day, it was, you hit 90 and you were throwing hard. Now it's 95 to 97, 98, for some of these guys. So you're looking to see 96, 97, 98 miles an hour. And if you've got an off-speed pitch with movement that you can throw at about 88 to 87, maybe 86, which would be crazy. But that's huge. That's all you need, because the reaction time is so limited when you heat it up at 96, 97, 98. It just is. So you got to have, for a knuckleball, you got to have, your nails in the ball. You go across the mid portion of the seams, and then it's throwing it, but you're also throwing it, you're like pushing it with your fingers as you throw a true knuckleball, and there's just so much movement and so much drop on a knuckleball. You go back to the old stories of Bob Uecker talking about Phil Niekro and trying to catch Phil Niekro in the knuckleball. And he'd said, hey, how did you catch it? And he said, I wait for it to stop rolling. I mean, that's the way it was. A knuckleball, a true, really good knuckleball, you could start it out at the shoulders and it would drop to the ankles by the time it got to the plate. So, but there's an art to it. There really is. And by the way, I'm not a hurler anymore. Can't do that. I can toss. I can still do that. Like if I go out and throw a ball with Kristen's kids, I can still, sling it, but I wouldn't trust myself to throw pitches to anybody at this point. I'd be wearing helmets, body armor, the whole thing. I may just stand behind the cage and not even do it, So there you go. 877-867-1670. Coming up here after the top of the hour. Ross Tucker is going to join us from the Ross Tucker podcast. Ross, we had a great time with him. He joined us twice, not once, but twice on Radio Row out in Vegas. So we're going to talk with Ross, I should say. And we'll talk with him about this upcoming NFL draft and get his thoughts on this. We heard from Merle Hodge last week, and he was great. We want to talk to Ross Tucker and give him some time. And obviously, coming up in May, you got Mother's Day as well. He's got a great product. We always love to talk about it this time of year because it takes a little while to get there. So we love to talk about it. So we're going to do that. So don't go anywhere. 1 hour down. I mean, it flew by. Talk some Brewers, talk some NBA. Tonight you got Bucks and Pacers, game 2. Brewers back at it today in Pittsburgh. A lot going on. Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker Podcast, former NFL lineman, joins us next on the Bill Michaels Show. Don't go anywhere.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers' 4-game win streak has come to an end in Pittsburgh last night as the Crew would fall to the Pirates 4-2. Starting pitcher Joe Ross gave up 2 runs on 6 hits in 5 1/3 innings of work, while the Brewers' 2 runs came off a Rhys Hoskins home run in the top of the 5th, and Hoskins also collecting an RBI in the 8th. Brewers and Pirates will be back at it today for Game 2 of their 4-game set at PNC Park tonight. First pitch is at 5:40. More bad news for the Brewers. Starting pitcher Wade Miley is on the 15-day IL with left elbow inflammation. Turning to the Bucks, they're looking to take a 2-0 series lead in their first-round matchup against the Indiana Pacers for the NBA playoffs. Giannis Antetokounmpo is listed as doubtful with the left calf strain. Chris Middleton talks on what it will take with Giannis likely out.
Collective effort. I mean, even when it comes back, we'll have to do that as a group. But knowing that one of your main guys is out one of the best players in the league, it's not going to be easy. So everybody has to, step up to the plate, do a little bit more, but not by themselves.
Tip-off tonight is at 7:30.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Farmers deal with a lot, including long days, stress, and fatigue. This is your reminder to take breaks, stretch, have a snack, and hydrate your body. Avoid farm accidents by keeping yourself healthy. Visit ruralmutual.com to learn how Rural Mutual supports Wisconsin farmers and prioritize safety on the farm.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
The Packers are putting their finishing touches on their game plan for the NFL Draft, which gets going Thursday night from Detroit. They own the 25th pick in the first round and 11 overall. And finally, Wisconsin added former Vanderbilt offensive lineman Leighton Nelson yesterday out of the transfer portal. He was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school and played the last 2 years for the Commodores. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome back in. It's always great to have you. I appreciate you joining us. For everybody on the network, now everybody's here. Kudos. From Menominee, Marinette to Milwaukee to Platteville, way up in Tomahawk, Wisconsin, and everywhere in between, including Madison, the whole gang. Appreciate everybody being on the network now and taking a listen to the program. Joining us, media personality. He is part of the Ross Tucker podcast. He's got everything. Go Big Recruiting, My Front Page Gift. I mean, on and on and on. And he joins us now. We saw him out in, as a matter of fact, not once but twice, out at Super Bowl out in Vegas. Ross now joining us on the hotline. Ross, how you doing, pal?
Bill, I am doing fantastic. I'm glad we got the whole network going. You know how I feel about Wisconsin, the people, Madison, the whole state. So I love it. And you guys must be feeling pretty good about the Packers heading into this season.
It has been a surprise, a whirlwind. We are giddy. Now we just kind of wait and see what happens to, fortify the defense a little bit and then add maybe a weapon or two, or at least fortify the offensive line. Those are kind of the areas of need. But you talked about what you thought of Jordan Love when we saw you out in Vegas. And I think like a lot of us, we were kind of wondering where this thing's going mid-season last year. And then something clicked. Maybe it was the fact that the receivers got together and they started talking and kind of getting on the same page. But, you've been in those huddles. When you got a young quarterback, what do you look for in a young quarterback to make you believe?
Yeah, I think as much as anything else, when they're inexperienced, is just, are they getting better? And then also, they look like they know what they're doing, right? Because I think it's hard to come from a position of, boy, he really looks lost, to then ending up being a guy that plays at a really high level. And I thought for the most part throughout the year, even when things weren't quite going as well, that Jordan Love looked like a guy that knew what he was doing. And I think, honestly, that's probably part of the value of what the Packers have done in their track record and their history of letting the guy sit for a couple of years, because it feels like they're able to, by the time they are out there, they do know the deal. They do know what they're doing. Because I feel like when you put a guy out there as a rookie and it's sink or swim, unfortunately, I think a decent amount of them sink because they're not ready. And so I think it's really hard to play that position if you don't know what's going on. And clearly it looked to all of us like Jordan Love really knew what was going on. And then by the end of the year, he was playing lights out.
When you start to see the emergence like that, confidence begins to build. I mean, it kind of changes the one thing I noticed about Jordan Love, he always had confidence. But once things started to kind of, I want to say, just for lack of a better term, just kind of happen for him, you could really see him kind of all of a sudden, metaphorically take command of that team. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I'll say this. I'm not just pandering to you, Bill, because I'm on with you right now. Because I've been critical of the Packers in other years. I felt like there were times, certainly with Aaron Rodgers, where it felt like they were good enough to just be good enough, to not be good enough, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Good enough to not be good enough to win the whole thing, right? And I thought there were times they could have been more aggressive. But you look at their roster, the way they have stockpiled draft picks and then played those picks, I can't imagine there's another team out there like them. I mean, I'm just looking at their starters right now. Let's just say on offense, right? Let's look at the four receivers. Watson, Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, all on rookie contracts, all drafted second round or later. The same with the tight ends and Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. The O-line is the same way. Elton Jenkins, I think, has gotten his money already, but the rest of them on rookie deals. And then, Jordan Love, obviously. The only one that's not the case, that's Josh Jacobs, which I think was probably the most interesting thing to me, were the Jacobs and Xavier McKinney moves this offseason, which sort of seemed a little out of character for the Packers. And it makes you wonder if they really think that they have a chance to have a special season, especially before Love is making the high-end money. I know they're working on that, but that they had a chance to really make a run at it this year.
I'm excited because Hafley has taken over the defense. I think Joe Barry had kind of run its course, and the aggressiveness or lack thereof really started to become evident. Now with a new defensive coordinator, kind of flipping a little bit. How difficult is it to go from a 3-4 to a 4-3? I mean, I know everybody runs nickel and dime for the most part, but how difficult is it to flip your staff from a 3-4 to a 4-3?
I think it's pretty hard. I do. I mean, it depends on how they're running it, what they're asking guys to do. There are going to be some guys who might even play better, in the new defense. But then there's other guys that it's not quite as good of a fit. I mean, I think that's sort of the job now of Hafley is to figure out how to best use these guys, right? Like, you're going to a 4-3. Do you want Rashawn Gary to have his hand in the dirt and to be over a tight end and offensive tackle? You think that's the best way to use him when he rushes? Do you want him to do that? Or do you want him to still be standing up, coming off the edge, which you can do? I mean, you can do that in a four-man front. I think Lucas Van Ness is really an interesting piece now as well, because I kind of thought he might be more of a 3-4 D end, but now they're playing a 4-3. I think he can handle that. So that will be something that we'll identify pretty early in the season, the guys that look like they're a good fit for the new defense and the guys that aren't. I thought you made a good point, though, Bill, just in the fact that how much of it is nickel or sub, which is sort of, the same thing anyway, right? Where you're either a 3-down front or a 4-down front. for obvious passing downs, but that's not different than what they were doing before.
Let's talk about the draft for a minute. We know the Packers can go secondary. A guy got like Cooper DeJean could possibly be there. They could go offensive tackle. There's a couple of offensive tackles that might fill the bill for this team. But we all know the top of the draft is going to be quarterback heavy. Now, you and I talked both on and off the air when we were in Vegas about value of what you're actually getting for where you're drafting. But because of the desperation of the quarterback position, are some of these teams already setting themselves up for failure?
Yeah, 100%. It sounds like maybe you read my column this week.
Maybe
Bill,
I did.
On the for the 33rd team. It's just ridiculous. Like, I don't care what aspect of life you're in, right? We get a lot of hardworking people driving around. I don't care if you're playing youth softball or you're talking business. It's never really good to be in a position in a competitive field where everybody kind of knows what you have to do. And that's how I feel about the Minnesota Vikings at 11 and the Denver Broncos at 12. The Denver Broncos are not going into the season with Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson as their quarterbacks. I don't believe that. The same with the Vikings and Sam Darnold. I just, like, what are you selling to your fans there at that point? Right. I mean, you're basically selling, hey, if everything goes well, we'll be mediocre this year. I mean, that's a tough way to go into a season. It's tough for the players in the locker room. And so I feel like those teams are basically in a situation where it's almost like they're competing with each other to trade up for 4, maybe 3, to draft the 3rd or 4th best quarterback off the board. And it might work, right, Bill? I mean, who knows? Nobody thought Stroud would be that much better than Bryce Young last year, so it might work, but it's not a good process. I mean, giving up a king's ransom of draft picks to go get the 4th guy off the board, that sounds like, maybe it works in this year, but that sounds like most years that's going to be a disaster.
Because this year they've got quite a few offensive linemen as well, and the Packers need one. They need depth. Actually, they could use 2 tackles, but they need depth. They want to move some guys around. How long does it really take you when you come into the league to kind of acquiesce to say, okay, now I'm really ready? Because the best part about the Packers is while they do have needs, they don't have desperation right now, but you're still looking for the next David Bakhtiari if you can find him.
Well, and that's the key, is to try to get the guys when you don't absolutely have to get them. And ideally, they don't have to play right away as rookies. And so I think the Packers are in that position, and they need to be, right? Because, Josh Myers is coming up. A lot of these guys will be up for contracts before you know it. And so you want to continue to replenish the pipeline because you might lose them like you did John Runyon Jr. Giants. So I think they're in a pretty good spot there. Man, they got a good track record of drafting these guys 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round and having them pan out. That's really across the board for the Packers. I'm not sure there's a franchise that's done a better job drafting in rounds 2 and below and developing those guys into starters. I would imagine that's the case again this year along the offensive line. I would think that perhaps not until round 2, but it might be round 1. I mean, the good news is having those 2 second-round picks, the 2 third-round picks, they're in such a great spot to be able to replenish the depth like immediately, Bill.
With that many picks, they have 11 picks in this year's draft. With that many picks and not a ton of needs, if you're the Packers, would you kind of package a few and try to move up to a guy that you really covet? Or would you just say, you know what, shotgun approach, take again as many as you can possibly get and see who sticks?
Well, I've seen Gutekunst say that that's kind of more his philosophy, is more at bats. He called it, and yep. I think both. You can make a good argument for both strategies, and honestly, you can do both strategies, right? So if there's, if you're 3 picks away, and there's only one guy that you still really like, well, then maybe you move up and you get him. If you're 3 picks away, and there's 7 guys that you think are all kind of the same, well, then maybe you move down 3 or 4 spots, and you still get one of them, but then you pick up more picks. So I think it really depends on how you stack your board, who's still available when you're picking, and if you see a drop-off. It's why you don't just rank guys on a board, you have tiers. And these guys are all in this tier. Okay, cool. Well, we're going to get one of them. Or even if we move down, we'll get one of them. Let's do that.
I like where the Packers are at. I know they desperately, and I hate to use that word, but they really need a middle linebacker. Kingsley Angabari goes down. He's not going to be back for a while. They lose Devondre Campbell. You have Quay Walker, who we know is solid, but you're really kind of hurting. You're thin in the middle. And I've always thought the middle is important because they're the guys that fill the gaps. There's the guys that can stop the run. They can blitz the quarterback. They can cover over the middle. You need a couple. How deep is this draft when it comes to middle linebackers?
Well, it's not a great year. It's not a great year for off-the-ball backers, and certainly none of them are considered to be first-round picks. Now they'll be able to get a guy that can help them there and certainly be in the mix. Depends on how early they do it. Do they have the risk tolerance for Peyton Wilson from NC State, his injury history? Do they try to get a guy like Junior Colson from Michigan or Edgerrin Cooper from A&M? Jeremiah Trotter Jr. always makes me feel old. His dad was a teammate of mine. But so there are guys, but it's not considered a great year to get a guy like a Quay Walker that you think is a starter from day one and potentially an impact player.
I like the fact that the Packers have a pretty deep and good wide receiver room. However, I've been an advocate to say, look, Christian Watson's the guy that takes the lid off the defense, but the problem is his availability has been bad. He's just hasn't been available. And when he has, he's been at times skittish, we'll say, at catching the football. Would you go after a wide receiver, would you take a chance and maybe go up and get a wide receiver, another weapon for Jordan Love?
No, I wouldn't move up for that. There's so many good receivers. There's so much depth, and now they've proven that they can get guys later on in the draft. I wouldn't be shocked if they got one, but, I mean, they just got two last year in Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks. So, to me, I probably would not. Now, they have so many picks that they could do it, but I don't think that's much of an. I think next year's a year that they'll strongly consider even more because that's when, some of these guys like Watson and Dobbs, depending on how this year goes, might be up for new contracts themselves.
Real quick before I let you go, so your favorite quarterback in the draft is?
Jaden Daniels.
Everybody's starting to say that.
Everybody I've had on my show, Bill. It's called the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Every guy, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick, Phil Simms, Chase Daniel, Greg Cosell, they all love Jaden Daniels. They all say he's the best pocket passer, the best pure progression passer. We know he's the fastest when he's running. That's a pretty good combo for me. So I'm all in on Jaden Daniels. The only knock is that he's skinny and he takes too many shots. So we can fix that part of it. We can fix both those parts of it. I like Jaden Daniels as my top quarterback. So I guess if you're a Packers fan, you're happy to hear that because the Bears are going to be taking Caleb Williams.
We all know Mother's Day is around the corner, and one of the best gifts ever in the history of gifts is my front page story. And I've told people, that throughout this area, that if you're going to get anything from Mom, this is a tremendous gift, and it's your brainchild. So talk about it.
Well, yeah, and it's amazing because you have, I don't know if it's just because the people in Wisconsin are nicer or what, or you just have a huge audience. But every time I mention it with you, Bill, a bunch of people go to myfrontpagestory.com and get an awesome gift. It is by far the best Mother's Day gift I know. I mean, literally, this is how pathetic I am, Bill. I text my wife to ask what I should get my mom for Mother's Day. I text my mom to ask what I should get my wife for Mother's Day. I mean, that's how I really, nobody knows, especially for your wife. Go to myfrontpagestory.com. You talk to one of their writers for 10 minutes or maybe fill out an email. They'll write this incredible story. They get pictures from you, so it looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper, framed. I can almost guarantee your mom will cry when you give it to her and or your wife. And just being able to say I had a story written about you sounds incredible. I know a lot of you haven't even thought about it yet. You don't think about it till May. Well, don't make that mistake. Go to myfrontpagestory.com. Even if you just throw your email in there, I think you get like 20% off, and you won't forget whenever it comes time that you're ready to order a gift from myfrontpagestory.com.
It is awesome. And if you've gotten one, you know what he's talking about. Whoever gets it, mom, mother, wife, whatever, they just burst into tears when they get this thing because it's actually so cool. Go to myfrontpagestory.com. Ross, it's always a pleasure, pal. I love having you on. Whenever you want to come back, you just let me know, and the door's always open, okay?
Thank you, Bill.
See you, pal. There you go. Ross Tucker joining us for a couple of minutes on the broadcast. Great stuff. And I'm not kidding. Myfrontpagestory.com. And basically what they do is you talk to a writer, and they then put together, they ask you some questions about whoever it is you're writing about. They get a couple of pictures, and then they put together what looks like a newspaper. And they put it in a frame. It looks like the front page of a newspaper. It's called myfrontpagestory.com. And the headline is about whomever, you know, your wife, your girlfriend, your mom, whatever. And they put this entire article together, and they open it up and watch the tears. It happens. They just absolutely love it. Again, myfrontpagestory.com. That's myfrontpagestory.com. God, it's good to get Russ Tucker on. Every time we have him on, he's just such a great dude. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Beautify your entertainment space with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Turn your ordinary space into something extraordinary with brand new Pella windows. The luxurious look, sleek design, and custom colors available is guaranteed to give your home the extra pop to entertain and keep you comfortable. At Pella, we see windows differently. We have the highest rated energy efficient products and a complete range of durable, functional, and high quality products that bring out the best of your home. Plus, getting the perfect windows and doors for your home has never been easier. Right now, get 0% interest for up to 36 months. Or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months if you book before April 30th. That's right, get 0% interest for up to 36 months, or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months. If you book before April 30th, take ownership of your living space and make it a place worth living with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Has its rewards. You love a made-to-order grilled cheesesteak, right? Join the club. You love Wisconsin cheese curds, right? Join the club. You love rewards too, right? Then join the club. The Cousins Club, where you earn points on every purchase, and those points are redeemable on all your favorites. So download the app or sign up online and start earning today. Cousins Subs. We believe in better.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, if you are ready for summer, and hopefully you are, because I know I am, not only is Cousin Subs teaming up with us for the motorcycle ride, but they're teaming up once again with Summerfest for the return of the world's largest music festival. They have a special ticket offer. All you got to do is place an order online at Cousin Subs of $30 or more now through the end of the month, and you get a free weekday Summerfest ticket. Free. The offer not valid in stores, by the way, and one qualifying purchase per day per email will result in a free weekday ticket. So if you're a business and you order from Cousin Subs anyway, have somebody in marketing do it one day and the person next to you do it the next, and the person next to you do it. Before you know, the whole office is going to Summerfest or during the week for free. Not a bad way to go. So Cousin Subs, they believe in better, and they are a huge sponsor. They just came on board at the motorcycle ride and the party after coming up on May 1st, Wednesday, May 1st. We are really, really looking forward to that announcement and looking forward to our friends from Cousin Subs, who are, by the way, at that motorcycle ride. They're going to be on site. Hint, hint. Excited about that. I can't wait. So we've got all the T's but one crossed, all the I's dotted but one, and we're just about ready to go. So I can't wait to make that announcement coming up on May 1st, and Cousin Subs is going to be a big part of it. So we're really, really, really looking forward to it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. So reaction from the conversation we just had with our friend Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker podcast. And this was from Marty. Marty says, hey, Bill, the question I have is, why do so many people feel that Caleb Williams then is the number one overall pick if all those other names like Jaden Daniels instead? I think at this point it is, I think because Caleb Williams has received so much hype. And there's so many, look, it's not to say that Caleb Williams isn't going to be a good player. That's not what people are saying. But people are saying, who do they like better? They like Jaden Daniels because of a lot of the intangibles. He just kind of checks a lot of boxes. And there was some things that Caleb Williams was a really good player on a mediocre team. And maybe he led them to some wins that maybe they shouldn't even have had because of his ability. Jaden Daniels was a good player on a good team. And he handled that. And he handled the pressure. He had character and makeup and, a lot of the intangibles that you're looking for, intelligence, between the ears. I mean, as a quarterback, if you come into the league and you have talent, that's one thing. But if you have it between the ears to decipher quickly, that's another. That's what makes Aaron Rodgers so good. And not only is Aaron Rodgers athletically gifted, but Rodgers is like a savant. He may not always make the best decision. We can argue that. But when it comes to knowing it and seeing it and explaining it and having it decipher in his own head in a split second, maybe Peyton Manning, maybe Joe Montana. There's a select few that were that good, that crisp, that precise, that understanding and knowledgeable of every position on the field. That was Rodgers. And if Jaden Daniels has that, now I'm not saying he does. I'm just simply saying if he's got all the makeup plus the knowledge plus the physical ability, that's what you're looking for. The Bears have made up their mind. And I think you, me, and every Packers fan keeps thinking to ourselves, they're getting Caleb Williams. But what if Caleb Williams is a bit of a head case? What if Caleb Williams, this is his ceiling? What if Caleb Williams is only so good? You know? What if he comes in with all the bravado? Because let's be honest, the expectation for Caleb Williams is through the roof in Chicago. I mean, they're down there thinking that they've already won the Super Bowl. So with all of that, what if he's not that good? And you're in you're going from LA, where you didn't handle the pressure real well because Lincoln Riley shielded you from media, didn't want people talking to you. You know, you were breaking down and crying. And I mean, that scene of him going to his mom, you know, I mean, I get it. And look, everybody gets emotional. Okay. But it's like you didn't see a lot of players around college football doing that. So you kind of see that and you're like, does he have everything as far as checking all the boxes for makeup? I think Caleb Williams does. But there are people that like Daniels better. They like his makeup better. They like all of that better. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I hope that Caleb Williams enjoys his career and plays extremely mediocre down in Chicago. And sometimes, when you, as he has and others have as well, it's not just him. He's not a completely arrogant, freak, but, he, between himself and others that have put him so far up on a pedestal, I think we kind of look to see the pedestal come crashing down. So we'll see, especially because it's the Bears, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Right? Hey, coming up next, we are going to now change gears just a little bit. We're going to talk some Brewers baseball. Our buddy Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers podcast, going to be joining us coming up next. Don't go anywhere. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends Dan Della and the whole staff over there at the Social House. Dan opened an old bar, bought an old bar and going to convert it, but he bought the Panga bar out there on Upper Bobbin as well. So I haven't been out there in a while. I got to get out there and check it out. They're going to operate it this year and then in the off season, gut it and then open it completely new next year. But between the Social House and the lakefront, waterfront Panga bar on Upper Bobbin, he's got some ventures going over there. So congratulations to Dan and the whole staff for expansion, we'll say. The Social House, West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. Great place, great people. I love the Tiger Burger there. You know that. Tiger Burger, awesome. Meatball sub, really good. They've got some really good appetizers too that are fun and creative on the new menus. So a lot of good things. And then on Sundays, you go in, you get that Bloody Mary on Sunday, you hunker down to watch a game, and free pancakes. Free pancakes when you get a mixed drink on Sunday. And their breakfast sandwiches are really good too. I've never had bad food there. It's always good. They usually have music. They open up the garage doors. They have music on Sunday. Great place. The Social House, Haus, West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls. Chucker Freems next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Great to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on, Brewers fall yesterday. A little bit of shoddy defense. And they're starting to get a little thin in the skin when it comes to pitching. Talking more about it from the Locked On the Locked On Brewers podcast, because we're talking so much draft right now, but got to get to the Locked On Brewers side of things. Our buddy Chuck Freeman making his weekly visit. Chucker, how you been, pal?
Michaels, man, how you been, man? You've been going to the Hall of Fame banquet, man. You've been all about town, country clubs.
I know.
You've been jet setting these days.
You know what, though, Freems? I was thinking of you when I put my pen to paper at the country club. You played there at River Club. I thought this is right up Freem's alley, man. We might have to go out and play.
Oh yeah,
we might have to go out and play.
At the place we used to work at, back in the day, we had our golf outings there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I remember coming up 18. That's how come we ended up joining, because looking off to the right-hand side was that big giant pool. So, and that's we wanted to go there and hang. We wanted a pool. So we would always go down to the Abbey Resort down in Fontana, Wisconsin, down by Lake Geneva. And it's great. We love it, but it's a little bit of distance. So we thought, well, this might be a little bit kind of between us both, between Kristen and I. So we ended up joining the country club. And so now I've got some golf to play and the pool to kind of hang out by, and some cigars to smoke out back. So I'm ready. I'm giddy, man. But I was thinking of you when I signed it. I'm trying to think of the friends that I have that actually play golf. And there's only about 4 of them. And you were one of them, man.
No, I'd be in. I remember coming up 18 because you'd walk up and you'd see that pool on the right side and you'd say, look at all those cougars.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
The Mequon moms. How we doing?
The Mequon moms.
The Mequon moms. There you go.
The Mequon Marys.
Oh my goodness! So we'll be playing a few rounds over there, I would assume. Then there you go. Hey, let's talk first and foremost about this thin pitching staff, because at this point, what are you doing? What are you thinking?
Boy, I don't know who they turn to, Bill. I really don't. At this point, you're down to 3 guys: Freddie Peralta, Colin Ray, and Joe Ross, who you saw last night. After that, who knows? It's TBA. Right. They still don't have it. I mean, they probably have an idea, but they haven't announced who's pitching tonight. That's how bad it is. One guy after another. Now, when you signed Wade Miley, you brought him back, and you decided to get him in on a deal. Well, you knew going in, 38 years old, there could be some issues there, but automatically he became the number 2 starter on this team after they traded Corbett Burns and all that. And now you're faced with a guy who's got some, injury history here, and you're gonna have to battle that the rest of the season. And that's who they put their eggs in the basket on. And Colin Ray doing a terrific job for a guy who wasn't even on the starting rotation last year, was mostly down at AAA last year. Came up, made a couple of terrific starts from a season ago. Joe Ross, who hasn't won a game since 2021, has been better than we all expected so far. And then after that, man, you're calling up guys from Nashville, Bill, hoping and praying they get you through 4 innings.
Right.
I think Bryce Wilson's going to make one of these starts. And we saw him last Wednesday, and he did a nice job out there. But here's a reliever coming in, and they stretched him out in spring training to make a few starts. But they're 14-7, but their pitching staff is in shambles right now because of injuries.
Right. And the one name that is brought up by fans more often than not is Trevor Bauer. And I remember when he left Cincinnati, they were like, man, what an incredible talent, but what a jackass in the clubhouse. And then obviously he goes on, and then the trouble hits at LA. He really has never pitched in the majors since. He pitched in Japan last year and did okay. But would you even consider going in that direction?
It's funny when a guy is a jackass in the clubhouse, and he's tough to now throw away all the legal issues. But when I'm just talking about a guy if a guy's a bad teammate, and you put up with being a bad teammate if you're really good, or if you're in the prime of your career. Terrell Owens, guys like that, you put up with guys like that. But then when they need a job, or you don't know, you're unsure about them if they still have it, that's when they sit on the sidelines, and you're a general manager and say, well, geez, do I want to bring this guy in? I don't know what I'm going to get from him, but boy, he sure was a pain in the ass. Is it worth bringing in a guy here who I'm unsure of, who's not going to be very good in the clubhouse? Some guys don't stick around baseball. Then, then they're looking for a contract. Well, back then when things were going well and they're pitching well, they could be a jerk. But when they're looking for a contract and they're a pain in the rear end, general managers don't want to take a shot at guys like that. So I just think there's a lot of GMs around the league who look at, do they need to bring that type of person onto our team?
Which I would agree with you. I mean, that's the reason he's not in Major League Baseball. It's not like I don't think he couldn't, at least help a staff and eat up some innings somewhere along the way, but nobody's bid on this guy, and maybe he just wants too much, who knows, but nobody's bid on this guy. And I would assume he would take anything at this point just to get a prove-it deal to come back into the majors, and nobody's giving him the opportunity. And this is even after it's been proven that the girl that he was with supposedly set him up, that targeted all of this. I mean, he's been kind of vindicated in all of this, but that reputation of just being a jag and kind of his prowess, we'll say, that reputation's there. So maybe it ruined his career. Hey,
it catches up with you.
Yeah, it
just
certainly
catches up with
does.
you, Bill.
Last night, look, it's an apparition. A few bad defensive plays, all of a sudden you have a little bit bigger inning for Pitt. Hey, let me ask you this: were you surprised to see only about 400 fans in attendance last night in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, yes and no. Pittsburgh, they got off to that great start. They won they were 11-2. Then they lost 6 in a row.
Right.
But in Pittsburgh, it's just that's the way it is. We were talking about them you and I before the season, and I think the Pirates, they have that secure lock on last place. They'll surprise you. They got a couple of nice players. I love Brian Reynolds. I would love to have him on the Brewers. They got a couple of nice pieces, but they're a victim of not being able to put things together. There's no hope. There's really no hope with a franchise like the Pirates. Sure, they got some young guys coming up, and they got a couple of nice veteran pieces with Hayes and with Brian Reynolds, but if you're looking at the Pirates, you're a fan. You're sitting here, and we've been in this situation before with the Brewers. You're looking at them and say, man, why would I go out to the ballpark? We have no shot at winning this division.
Now it's way too early in the season to proclaim anything, and I understand that. I know it's a long season, but I said yesterday it was and this is, again, very premature, but it was kind of like the final chopping down the giant tree that was the St. Louis Cardinals. They won yesterday. I get it. They're 5 games back, but it's kind of like that sweep over the weekend, even with the depleted pitching staff and such, it's like they're dead. It's not going to happen for them. They're 10-13, 3 games under 500 at this point, 5 games behind the Brewers. They're -17 in run differential on the season. They're not hitting. Their defense isn't great, and their pitching isn't what they thought it would be. I just think it's a matter of time before they just declare a full-blown fire sale, maybe in the middle of June.
Well, they have a piece there called Sonny Gray. I think a lot of people would love to have.
Right.
I think a lot of people would love to have him. And we saw him pitch on Saturday, and he was great. But, yeah, it's funny. The Cardinals Twitter on Sunday afternoon was blowing up. And some of it was this. Boy, the Brewers are just showing us all our flaws in our team. And then other people were saying, when a trash franchise like the Milwaukee Brewers could come in here and sweep the 3 games, because they don't respect us. Let's face it, the Brewers haven't really earned a lot of respect in 54 years. Yeah, the Cardinals they don't have any offense. They're 2 stars. They won last night on a walk-off home run, but their 2 stars aren't hitting. I mean, Arenado, their third baseman. I mean, how many times did he pop up this last weekend? Goldschmidt had a couple of hits, but with those 2 and they should be better than that. I don't know how Marmo, their manager, holds on to his job.
Right? It's just bad. For lack of a better term, they're just it's like they really wanted to put one more decent run together, but they couldn't. It just hasn't taken shape. Did we underestimate the importance of Yadier Molina in a clubhouse, for God's sakes?
Well, there's the rumblings, Bill, that he could be the next manager of the team. Now, they brought him in as a special assistant in the offseason. And what that happens. Anytime you bring in the special assistant, like Craig Counsell was, when they made him a special assistant, it's like, oh boy, that's the manager in rating right there. So they brought him on as a special assistant. From what I understand, though, that he has not been around too much as of late for the first part of the season. But maybe that could be it. He could be maybe the next manager of the team. I don't know. He's been laying low, but it's just odd that they're playing so poorly right now. And they're only 3 or 4 games from the 500 mark, 3, I think.
Right.
But everybody's still in the race in this division.
What optimism we got this week? Give me some good thoughts because we're talking about pitching that's dropping like flies. But what optimism do we have right now?
Well, the Brewers, despite the pitching, they play so fundamentally well. They're a smart team. They have 8 guys on that roster behind the pitcher on any given day are smart guys. They don't make a lot of mistakes on this team. There's a high baseball IQ. The bullpen is still darn good. Yeah, last night, that was the help of an error. Bauer made an error at first base, and that kind of opened the floodgates a little bit. But I like the bullpen. I like the young guys on this team. I think some of the veterans, like Giannis, is even playing well. Hoskins hit a home run last night. There is still a lot to like about this team. That's why it's frustrating. Now, you imagine this. Corbin Burns, if you could do that deal all over again, now, if you could say, okay, we'll send you back Ortiz and we'll send you back DL Hall if you give us Burns for a year, would you take that, Bill? Would you take that?
At this point,
team?
I think I would.
You're off to a 14-7 start. You could use an ace at that top of the rotation next to Freddie Peralta. Man, for one more year, I'd take it.
Yeah.
I would send those two back for Burns for one more year. Obviously, he's not going to sign a long-term contract, but man, I'd feel a lot better about that pitching staff if Corbin was on this team.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, you'd feel because that would be your guy that could extend a win streak and stop the bleeding if you get into a losing streak. And that would be your guy to do that. So plus you'd have an incredible 1-2 punch at the top. So I'd take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
There you go.
And plus, I think in the trading deadline, Bill, you're going to have to go out and get yourself some pitching. And you'll have to give up probably prospects in return.
Yeah.
So you're giving up prospects anyway to get some pitching. You had one. You had a starter. You had a bona fide starter.
No doubt.
Roughed up a little bit. I saw the other night in Kansas City, he got roughed up a little bit.
Right. Well, you know what? I mean, even the Brewers got to him.
Yeah.
The Brewers
exactly.
Bit, I'd take that.
And that was smart. And that was smart baseball. They had a great approach to him a week ago Sunday in Baltimore.
Yep. Good stuff. Freems, where are they going to find you? How often? And all that kind of stuff.
Well, Bill, when I'm not on the Bill Michaels Show, Tuesdays at 11:30, you get me our podcast, Locked On Brewers, Google, Spotify, Apple, on all the major downloads where you get your podcasts, any one of those platforms. And, of course, go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. It'll alert you every time we drop an episode. We're here Monday through Friday. We're also always talking Brewers baseball with you, Bill. And as I always say, it's always a pleasure, man. Hearing some sports talk, talking some sports with the great Bill Michaels.
We will, you and I are either going to go see our buddy Mike Lehman over at Ironwood, or you and I will drink with our pinkies out and go to the club. But we'll have to play some golf at some point this year.
It has been a while, man.
Yeah.
You know, back when we were in the same building, we did that quite often.
Right.
But,
every afternoon, man. It'd be great.
Now, does the lady golf? I don't think she golfs.
She does. She like hits it and then picks it up and just rides along, and then hits it and picks it up and rides along. But
that's the way. That's fine.
She loves the attire. So if you're going to tell her she's going to play golf, she is all about the fashion side of things. So
that's half the battle.
Yes,
that's perfect.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? We'll get Shannon, me, you, the young lady. And we'll get out there and hit a couple of balls.
Beverages after
have
the
a fun
fact.
time.
Little dinner in the club.
Beverages before, during, and after. Yes.
There you go. That's the way to go. Chucker, good to talk to you, buddy. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right. See you next week.
All right, pal. There you go. That's Chuck Freeman joining us from the Locked On Brewers podcast, joining us for a couple of minutes on the program. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May. Score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries. 5 times the entries on drawing days and with the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes? Slugger, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Tonight. You got Brewers, you got Bucks, and backyard. I don't care if it's raining or not. Backyard. Gonna do a little grilling tonight. I went down to Robert's Specialty Meats in Waukesha, and I highly recommend this. Look, if you are going to do some tailgating, there's no better place to go. And whether it's the sausages, the custom-made sausages or ribs on a stick, or the garlic parm chicken skewers or whatever, they got something for everybody. It's ready to go. But I went down and picked up some of those thick-cut, steak-like pork chops, and that's dinner tonight. I can't wait. Just relax. Got a lot of the yard work done yesterday. Going to do a little grilling tonight because I know the rain is supposed to hit. And so tonight, just taking it easy. Just going to take it easy tonight. Me, a little bit of Robert's Specialty Meats, and some sports on the tube. That's my night tonight, so I can't wait. Hey, if you want them to maybe cater an event, like a golf outing or any type of an event for that matter, even right up to like the meat salads for proms or something. Who knows? It's Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com. That's Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com. And you cannot go wrong if you pick up the Al Capone roast. Got to go down and see it for yourself and have one. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. So they have that as well. And they have some of their own sauces down there. So can't go wrong. Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com, right on Sunset Drive in Waukesha. Big supporters, too, of our motorcycle ride. I was just down there the other day picking up the pork chops. And the first thing Paul said is, hey, where are the posters for the motorcycle ride? We got to get them up. And I said, they're coming. They're coming. I can't give you all the details, but they're coming. We're about there. So I promise you we'll get them in the store. So, but great stuff. Great stuff. We got 2 hours down. We got 2 hours yet to go. And we'll talk a little more NFL draft. I want to get into some of that. We're only a couple of days away. Tonight, 7:30 Central, you get the Bucks and the Pacers at the Fiserv Forum. So we got that coming up. Brewers in game 2 of the series against the Pirates. We'll discuss that. We got a lot more to go. Don't go anywhere. Good stuff today here on the program. And by the way, thanks to everybody for paying attention to us and watching and all that kind of good stuff. I watched some of the analytics now, and man, great stuff. people are paying attention to us. I didn't realize we had that kind of a growing audience, but thank you. And by the way, also, hey, I failed to mention again, but if you want to chime in and text us, 608-321-1670. The text line is open. 608-321-1670. So we got all kinds of stuff going on here in the Bill Michaels Show. We'll be back right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, it's game day for the Bucks. They're going to face Indiana again tonight in game 2 of their best-of-7 series. Milwaukee took the first game without Giannis Antetokounmpo as he deals with a calf strain. They will almost certainly play without the two-time MVP again tonight as he is listed as doubtful on the injury report. Veteran Chris Middleton was asked how they can get it done.
Collective effort. I mean, even when it comes back, we'll have to do that as a group. But knowing that one of your main guys is one of the best players in the league, it's not going to be easy. So everybody has to, step up to the plate, do a little bit more, but not by themselves.
The Bucks looking to take a 2-0 series lead before things shift to Indiana for games 3 and 4. Tip tonight is at 7:30. Turning to the Brewers, they will also be back in action tonight in Pittsburgh as they look to bounce back from a loss in the series opener last night. The team now down several starting pitchers after having to put Wade Miley on the 15-day IL with left elbow inflammation yesterday. First pitch tonight is at 5:40.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Farmers deal with a lot, including long days, stress, and fatigue. This is your reminder to take breaks, stretch, have a snack, and hydrate your body. Avoid farm accidents by keeping yourself healthy. Visit ruralmutual.com to learn how Rural Mutual supports Wisconsin farmers and prioritize safety on the farm.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
We're just 2 days out from the start of the NFL draft. Things get going Thursday night in Detroit. Packers on the 25th pick of the first round, 11 picks overall. GM Brian Gutekunst said yesterday that they have the ammunition to move around if they want, but he'd like to end up with 12 or 13 picks in an ideal world. Again, the first round starts Thursday. And Wisconsin, nearing the end of spring practice, they were on the field for practice number 11 of 15 this morning in Madison, back out there on Thursday morning. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Pritt.
Welcome in, and good to have you on board. Yeah, love it. Love it. Bill Michaels Show. Here today, tomorrow, Thursday, twice on Thursday. Thursday's our marathon day. Thursday, we do the NFL draft, round 1. So we have the program as usual, and then starting at 7 o'clock Eastern, all the way up until 11 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, all the way up until 11 o'clock Central time. We will give you the entire first round of the NFL draft, and we are excited about that. For those of you on the network stations, plan on our coverage if you haven't already. And if you're not carrying it, then you got to find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on Kick, on the Twitch app and the Kick app. You can find us on Facebook Live, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're all over the place. We're all over the place. You can email the program as well, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Also, just find the website, thebillmichaels.com, thebillmichaels.com. Also, I know they just updated our road schedule as we're going to be out and about, and we're going to start seeing you in probably a town near you at some point. So pay attention to that as well over on the website. Keep checking that out, thebillmichaels.com. You can listen to us on the app and listen to pick-by-pick coverage on the app. On WOZN, the Zone Madison, which is our mighty flagship station out of Madison, Wisconsin. But you can listen to us all over. So appreciate everybody paying attention to the program, as always. I got an email, and I had to think about it for a minute because I forgot. Mark says, I can't believe you actually put your name to it today. Harping on Greeny. Any backlash? No. No backlash. For those that didn't know, I mean, I was on Twitter this morning, and I was sitting here. As you know, I'm not. Look, ESPN is unavoidable. We know that. Everybody checks it out at one point or another, whether you like it or hate it. And I'm not a fan of it as much anymore, but it is. I watch it for SportsCenter, and I'll pay attention to highlights and all that kind of stuff for stuff that maybe I missed the night before. And then SportsCenter at 7 a.m. goes into the show Get Up, which Mike Greenberg hosts. And since he got off of Mike and Mike and they gave him his own show with Get Up, he has become a caricature. I do watch every now and then because it's informative, and I try to watch everything from MLB to NBA to the NFL networks. I have a Fox Sports channel, CBS Sports channel, all NBC Sports channel, all that I can pay attention to, and I do flip around a lot. But this morning, I was watching. Really, I wasn't watching. I had it on in the background, and I was doing chores around the house. And every day is this hype on Dak Prescott, hype on LeBron James, and it's always like this dramatic, over-the-top entrance into the program and of the biggest news. And every time I get sucked in, and then it's nothing. It's just garbage, which, after a while, you tend to look at it, and it's like every day you can watch one of the news channels and it says breaking news, and you're thinking, oh my God, what happened? Because that's what breaking news used to be used for. Now every day it's breaking news. The Dow drops 10 points, or, somebody said something, or TikTok, or, that's not breaking news. Who cares? So today, he said last night at Madison Square Garden, that was one of the best games ever that the Garden has ever seen, which every day is the best ever. Every day is the biggest moment that's ever happened. And it hit a breaking point for me. So I put it out there saying he's unwatchable. He's losing credibility, and he's drama. And I tagged him on it because I don't have a problem saying that. I'll stand up and say it to anybody. I don't care. So yeah, and it got a little bit of a reaction, I guess, but I don't care. I mean, it's just all hype. I mean, every day it's the rhyming of Dak is back and that's whack, and it's like, come on, you're garbage. At least some of the people on your panel are worth listening to until you put Kimberly Clark on there, who cackles over everybody, talks over everybody, and he refers to goes to he's got some infatuation boyfriend girlfriend thing over her, and you can't watch that either. So. Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to it anymore. I try not to anyway. If you can get past Stephen A. Smith, who is legitimately a very knowledgeable NBA guy, he has some good takes. If you can get past the blowhard that he is, he's got some good stuff. Him and Shannon. But for the most part, I'll flip over. I usually try to watch the networks. I'll watch the NFL or MLB or NBA, and I'll even pay attention to Fox in the morning, or I'll pay attention to Pro Football Talk or something. But yeah, so today I was just one of those days, and I got up and I'm like, okay, enough, enough. I'm just going to put my voice out there and let it be heard and kind of go from there. So there you have it. So yeah, I did it. I don't care. At least I admit it. You know what I mean? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is from Jess. Jess says, who do you like on the ESPN programs? Oh God, there's a lot of people that I respect. I love Dan Orlovsky. I think he's tremendous. As far as like the women go, I mean, I've said before, Monica McNutt is fantastic. She really has knowledge, and I like that. And so I'll go there. Jay Wright's really good when it comes to basketball. Tim Legler's really good when it comes to basketball. Teddy Bruschi was really good when he was on that panel. Rex Ryan, from a coach's perspective, I like him. But it's become kind of a joke. ESPN's kind of a joke. It's the over the top hype. Like, I don't know. I tune in because I want to learn something. Tell me what I don't know. Otherwise, you're boring me. Tell me what I don't know. And a lot of this stuff is opinion, and every now and then I'll take an opinion and keep an open mind to it because maybe it's different than mine and I want to know why. So I like that, but not most of the time. Most of the time it's, it's especially with Get Up. I mean, between that and the verbal that he gives Aaron Rodgers on a daily basis, it's like just it's unbearable. You can't watch it, So, and it's really sad because you don't get a lot of local opinion anymore because every television station has cut out sports. Basically, they've got the anchors doing sports, and which is such a joke at times because some of the anchors don't even know it. They don't even know the lingo. They don't know the players. They stumble, and look, I don't know everybody, in sports. I admit that, but I know sports. That's about all I know, and when they decide to downgrade and save money and get rid of good quality sports people for some of the jokes that they have behind a desk that can barely read a teleprompter to begin with, and then you're going to tell me, it's like, I give up. So you got to go find it yourself, is what it is. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, do it. 877-867-1670. Now, I got a question. Aaron, listening to us in Marshfield over on the text line, says, do the Bucs want the opponent to believe that their adjustments worked better than maybe they really would have if they put the hammer down? That's Aaron in Marshfield. No, Aaron, I love the fact that your mind goes there. Like the Bucs were playing a little possum in the third quarter. Like the Bucs they were like, we'll let them think they're starting to make a comeback when really we know what we're doing and we've got the upper hand. I love that. And Aaron, I wish it was true. I really do. I wish it was true, but no. The third quarter has been the nemesis this season for the Bucs pretty much throughout. So I don't think so.
It has been the third quarter this entire season, and that remains a concern. I think individually in game one, and maybe I'll cut the team and the Bucs players a little bit more slack than you, Bill. And again, that's fine. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think it's human nature, right? If you're up 20 points, Ryan Russillo, who's a podcaster I listen to sometimes, he always says you can't fake desperation. Right. Yeah. Of course, the team trailing in the game or the series is going to come out and play harder. It's really hard to fake that and manufacture it. So I think part of it's just human nature too.
Nope, I agree. The Bucs, I don't think would right now anyway should ever consider taking a quarter off or lightening up, so to speak. This team right now needs to figure out how to put the hammer down. So as much as I would love to believe that, Aaron, no, it was just a valiant effort to come back by the Pacers that was thwarted by the Bucs. And now we'll see what adjustments the Pacers make early on in this contest tonight to stymie Dame and the Bucs and what it is they're doing. And I would not expect, I got a couple of people that texted too that said, what do you think the odds are that Giannis comes back tonight? I would say 95% he is not in the game. He is not going to play tonight. I would never rule it completely out because of the competitive spirit of Giannis. But if I'm the Bucs, there is no way in hell I'm putting him on the court yet. No way. Not going to happen. Clemhead Mike says, hey, Bill, woke up this morning feeling awful. Just wanted to let you know how much we appreciate the program. Sports is supposed to take our minds off the troubles of the day, and your show always does that. Thanks for what you guys do. Regards, our buddy Mike Campbell, the Clemhead, as he calls himself. Mike Clemhead. Mike, good stuff, buddy. Good stuff. Yeah, well, that's what we're here for. We try not to delve into too much stupidity. There's enough crap in the world out there. God knows you can get buried in politics. Have you ever just sat down and flipped through Instagram or TikTok and watched all the just the blatant stupidity? But everybody digs their heels in. The blatant stupidity. It's like you want to look at them and go, do you really believe that? Do you really? Seriously? You're that just completely obtuse that you understand what it is you're saying. And in today's world, everybody's got an opinion and they're going to dig their heels in no matter how right or wrong they are. And so, yeah, that's why we're here. We're here to kind of take all that away. This one from the 414 that says, hey, do you think the Bucs are going to get another win tonight? I hope so. If I was a betting man tonight, I would say the Bucs get off to a fast start, but ultimately lose the game. If I'm betting, and I'm not tonight because I got too many weird feelings on this game tonight. This was a game where I had the money, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. What do you know what the Bucs are favored by tonight, by any chance, Grant?
No, but I'll pull it up.
Can you find out? Yeah, find out what the Bucs are favored by tonight. I just remember when I looked at it yesterday, and I was thinking, throw $100 down, and then I'm like, no. There's just some doesn't sit well with me. So
favored by 1.5.
Yeah.
So
just no. It's. I think the more I think about it, the more my gut says favor the Pacers, but my heart says don't you dare. If that makes sense. Don't you dare. It's like I'd be wrestling with myself at the kiosk down in Potawatomi, and somebody have to call a cop to break up a fight between one person. I'd kick my own ass on the floor. So I don't think I could do that. Hey guys, can I ask your Bucs guests, do you believe Damian Lillard deep down prefers not to have Giannis on the floor with him? Without him, he is the man, and I think he's comfortable in that role. He doesn't know how to act in the second chair, and that is Brooke listening in Kimberly. Brooke, great question, because I thought the same thing. The spotlight is on Dame, and he took it. Now, you got a guy like Chris Middleton, he acquiesces. Chris knows his place. Giannis knows he's the star, right? And damn, that's a great question. I really think that there has been, they're not comfortable, and you can watch it. When Giannis brings the ball up the floor, that's Damian Lillard's job. Run that point, man. But here's Giannis dribbling high up the floor, getting it tipped away. Now, and then there's times he goes end to end. And, Lillard's sitting out beyond the arc, right here, man. There is nobody on me. And I've noticed that. They've kind of managed to coexist, but is it a comfortable, I don't want to say harmonious, because that means that Damian Lillard doesn't like Giannis or they're unhappy together or whatever. It's more of they just haven't learned to comfortably coexist. And that's a great observation. That's a great question. Appreciate it. 877-867-1670, which is maybe the reason tonight you see Dame go off again. Maybe he goes off again. Who knows? 877-867-1670. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May. Score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries. 5 times the entries on drawing days and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes? Slugger, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on. Glad you're here today. Good stuff. Hey, want to let you know the weather permitting, the patio, the upper deck, it's all open. It's Stoley's Hog Alley right out there in Lake Country, Venice Beach Road and Oconomowoc to be exact. I saw the other day they brought the tables out. They've got the upstairs on the upper deck. They've got all the patio furniture that's out now. The umbrellas are out now. So as soon as this weather, which it looks like next week, all through this weekend, heading into the weekend and next week are going to be above average norms. So when it comes to temperatures, so head out there and enjoy yourself outside. Bring the outside or the inside out at Stoley's Hog Alley in Lake Country. And then Stoll's Old 109 on County Road R in Watertown as well. And if you're going over there for a fish fry on a Friday, gives you a little more room, a little more elbow space. And I love that place. I just love the decor ever since they renovated over at Stoley's Hog Alley, man. Going to get over there. And it's not far from my house, so I get a chance to ride over there. And then our buddy Dan Della bought the Panga Bar, which is only like two doors down. So they've got that. So you just bounce back and forth now. Great stuff. Great stuff. Can't wait for Lake Country, man. Lake Country, anywhere near a lake in the summertime, always awesome. Doesn't matter where you're at. Stoley's Hog Alley in Lake Country, Venice Beach Road in Oconomowoc. Stoll's Old 109 on County Road R in Watertown. Up, ready to go, waiting for you. It's good stuff. Good stuff. What did I have here? I had a question somebody had asked me, and I don't know where the hell I put it. Oh, I know what it was. Over on the text line, which, by the way, you want to text us 608-321-1670. This one says, sorry, Bill, this is off topic. I was wondering where you scored the bottle of Weller when you were in the Northwoods, and how was it? First of all, it was good. I'm not even halfway done with it yet. The bourbon selection in the Michaels house here is getting vast. One of Kristen's clients is a liquor store. And I didn't receive anything, never took anything from them, but she had a meeting with them, and it turns out that they had just gotten in a few things of interest. So I purchased a couple of bottles, but the Weller bottle that I got up in the Northwoods, that was at, I think it's called the Warehouse, the Tomahawk Warehouse Liquors. It's if you're in downtown Tomahawk, it's just north of the city. Like before you get to A, it's just north of the city. If you know the area, if you don't know the area, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But Tomahawk Warehouse Liquors is, I think it's the name of it. It's like it's almost like a garage type of building. You know, it's a metal building, but it's a really pretty nice liquor store, and they carry some really good stuff. So that's where I got that bottle of Weller's, the big one. So I think I've got 3 or 4 different ones, but the big one, the big long bottle, yeah, that's where I got that. So, and that's also where I got the second bottle of Single Barrel Blanton's. They had a bottle of Blanton. I walked in. You talk about getting like lightning striking. Oh, pardon the pun for me, but oh my goodness, when I walked in and I saw this box sitting on the floor, and I said, "Is that Bland's?" He said, "We just got 4 of them in." And it's the maroon bottle. For those that know Bland's, it's the maroon one. It's not the regular, the old parchment looking, wrapper type of thing. This is the Single Barrel maroon bottle, because the only other maroon bottle that I've ever seen of Blanton's, the maroon one for Single Barrel, is the one that they make to sell overseas. I saw one that was strictly in Japanese writing that goes overseas to Japan. And I can't even begin to tell you what that bottle's worth. But this one, I saw that, the Single Barrel. I was like, well, yeah, if I could have one of those. So I scored that up there too. Tomahawk Warehouse Liquors. Pretty good stuff. I mean, again, if you hit there at the right time in the right place, so to speak, So, what else do we have here for you? This is from Jan. Jan says, my husband and I finally made it down to Potawatomi, and we had the Rockin' Brews for dinner the other night. Great recommendation and a lot of fun watching all the old videos. Appreciate it. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, it's all the old stuff. And now you're looking at what's really bad. And I know this. Look, this is a lot of people that were doing rock and roll back in the 80s and the 90s, and they're older than I am. But you look at Phil Collins now, and then you know the health struggles that he's had, and then you watch Phil Collins back then. Oh, what a talent. Same thing with Sting. I was catching the other day, we were down there, I was watching the video for King of Pain off the Synchronicity album. Oh, it was like I used to crank that up on cassette, man, back in the day. It's just like, wow, some really cool things.
I watch clips of Genesis's Land of Confusion tour a lot more often than I should for how prevalent Genesis is. I really like Phil Collins, but every once in a while I'll just watch clips, because YouTube, you can dig up any old live performance of any artist. And you're not wrong about Phil Collins back in the day. That dude was a house.
He was, when he was with Genesis, he was a talent. And remember, he was the drummer. He played keyboards. He was the lead singer. He did everything. I mean, he's unbelievably talented. Obviously he's fallen on hard times with his health and such, but he was an unbelievably talented guy. And then you look at some of the old bands that they have, and then you think they're still rocking, 2 of which, by the way, are coming to our party that I can't express yet, but they're coming to our party. So that was kind of cool. When I was looking up, and I'm like, they're going to be here. And the people at the next table went, what? Wait, what? And I said, yeah, they're going to be at our party, but you can't tell anybody. Not that they're running around posting it on Facebook, but or Instagram for that matter. But yeah, so it was a little bit different. So I love heading down. So we're going to be at the Sports Book on May 9th, Thursday, May 9th. We're going to be at the Sports Book at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. And for those that come on down and see us, for those that are on site, we're going to get you registered to win a brand new, since in honor of them having this giant screen that is just, it's huge. If you haven't seen the pictures of it yet, in the new sports book, it's huge. So in honor of a big TV screen, we thought, let's give away a TV. So that's what we're going to do. Compliments of our friends at ABC Audio Video here in the Milwaukee area, but they do stuff all over the state. I know Chris has done some hospitals throughout the state, putting in new audio video equipment and running cables and TVs and rooms. And I mean, so he's done quite a bit. But compliments of ABC Audio Video. We're going to give away a TV on site down there that day. So just come on down, get registered, and we'll get you squared away. And then somebody from that appearance will announce the next day on the air from stopping by is going to get themselves a television. So that's kind of cool, giving that away. It's not very often we just go out with stuff in our pocket to say, here, you want this? Take it. That's the way we're going to do it.
What are you talking about? I did that with my wallet last week. I do it all the time.
Yes, that's true. And it still hasn't turned up, huh?
No, I think I'm going to have a new card or two waiting for me in the mail when I get home. But
okay.
I've been living cheap. It's amazing. If I don't have the temptation to spend money, it's amazing how little money I actually spend. It's not the worst thing in the world.
If you don't have money in your pocket, you don't spend it. I have found,
Amen.
I have got, I probably am not the person to have this, but I probably have between 15 and 20 credit cards. Now, I don't use them all, but I probably have between 15 and 20. I got a boatload of cards. I get points on everything from flights, Delta, American Airlines, and all that kind of stuff to anything with a reward on it. Discover, you name it, And what I found was that when I put all my credit cards away and I took them out of my wallet and I started taking out cash and just spending cash, I spent less because you can see the money. You can see the money leaving your wallet. And then I realized how much money I was spending. So it was actually a very therapeutic thing for me. By the way, and this is my PSA for a second. I know people don't use it much anymore, but cash is needed. And I think about this when I go tip servers at restaurants. If you constantly tip them, because back in the day, if you were a server, the cool thing was if you got a $5 tip on a $10 bill or a $13 tab or whatever, $5 tip was $5 because you didn't claim everything. That was part of the charm of being a server. You got a little bit of cash in your pocket and it was extra spending money to kind of put back into the economy. Now with everything on credit card, everything's there for the IRS to see. And I'm not saying, hey, let's take down the government by spending nothing but cash and hiding it. But what I am saying is, if you've looked at taxes lately, and I just went through this both with my business and personally, they grab you on everything. I mean, everything. And there's no benefit anymore. So when I tip the servers now, when I put cash in there, their eyes get big. Like, thank you. Thank you. So servers and certain things, I'll drop dollars and dollar bills and cash. But also if you take cash, a lot of cash with you, you'll find out that you actually spend less because you actually see it leaving your hand. And you're like, what am I doing? Why am I giving everybody all this money? 877-867-1670. Let's do this. We'll switch gears when we come back, talk a little Packers, a little NFL draft as well. When we come back, don't go anywhere. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
You ever have one of those days when you just couldn't come up with the right answer? Well, I know one answer that pretty much solves all problems. Ice cream. Yeah, it's the answer to everything, right? And right now, at Quick Trip, our rich, creamy, straight from our dairy, Nature's Touch 1-gallon pails of ice cream are just $4.99. Yeah, now that's an answer worth digging into. Come on, be a problem solver. Bring home some fresh, delicious Nature's Touch ice cream, only from Quick Trip.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Awesome Abacab. Abacab. Genesis. There you go. Like it. Digging into the archives, if you will. Bill Michaels Show, we continue on. Grant Bill's Dynamite Drop-In. Like it. Like it a lot. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. By the way, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Every Plumbing and Heating. And they're out there in La Crosse, Trempealeau, Vernon counties. And what it doesn't matter what it is you're looking for, because you think of a heating company, you're like, they don't do a ton of plumbing. Yes, they do. They do more plumbing than they do heating and air conditioning, by the way. Whether it's a water heater replacement or repair, for that matter, water softeners, reverse osmosis, sewer and drain cleaning, new construction, remodeling. They do septic systems. What else? The outside faucets repair, replacement, faucet repair and replacement. In-floor heat installation. I know they do that. Garage heaters. So there's a lot of things they do, and they do it extremely well. And oh, by the way, they are a third generation company, started in 1969 by the Korean War veteran Clayton Every, and now run by Craig Every. Good stuff. Craig's a good guy. Get a chance to see him whenever we get out to La Crosse. Usually we'll make it a point somewhere, wherever we're at, to say hello, and always good seeing those guys. But great that he makes it out. And if you want to give him a call, whether it's in La Crosse or Trempealeau, Monroe, Vernon, Jackson County, they're located right there in Onalaska. Call them 608-783-2803, 608-783-2803. Again, 608-783-2803. That is Every Plumbing and Heating out there in the western portion of the state of Wisconsin. That is in the La Crosse area. So great stuff. Great. And we'll probably see them. I think we got some. I think we have some. We got some cigar dinners that are going to be coming up. We have got the motorcycle ride that we're doing out there in La Crosse in the middle of August. And then we're going to be back in La Crosse for Oktoberfest this year. Grant, are you going back for Oktoberfest?
I hope so.
Yeah.
If I'm alive, I'm going to be going back. Yeah. If I make it there and if everything goes according to plan. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking with Josh, who is on that Oktoberfest board. And he was kind of saying, hey, are you coming back out? I said, we're planning on it. So I know our fine WAYY, is it WAY? No, WKTY. KTY. AYY is Eau Claire. WKTY is our fine affiliate out there. And so we'll be doing some stuff with them for sure, which is the Midwest Family Broadcasting Group out there in the western portion of the state of Wisconsin. So there you go. So Brian Gutekunst speaking yesterday. Did you learn anything? Did you pull anything away from that?
I saved two comments that he had because so he spoke at league meetings, right? At the owners' meetings and everything. And the one comment that he made in that little availability, the rest of it was mostly whatever, but he made a comment about like, hey, we can't draft for need because we don't know what our needs will be. Right. Do you remember that comment? Yep. I think we talked about it. And I'm like, man, that's really interesting. And then he had two comments yesterday, and I have them saved. We can listen to them or, we can just talk about them. But he was asked about, what they're looking for in draft picks. And then he was also asked about quantifying a successful draft class. Like, how do you judge a class? And both of his answers kind of added on that. And I thought they were interesting.
Let's listen to when he was asked, what it is you look for. Let's do that first. This is Brian Gutekunst talking about what it is you look for when you talk about this draft.
I know this time of year everybody's talking about schemes and different kind of things like that. To me, we're looking for well-rounded guys that could fit any scheme, that can play multiple positions. NFL season is a brutal one, and it's a long one. And I think that the more you can do, and when as injuries hit, the more you can cover up for those things, the better.
So everything he said there is an explanation philosophically of what the Packers have been going from Ted Thompson to Brian Gutekunst. And even Ron Wolf, if you want to go back that far. It is about getting players while they have specific abilities to play a specific position. They're all about the manipulation of the roster and moving guys around. They like versatile players. They like athletic players and versatile players. And which then takes us to the offensive line because, you're looking at tackles that can play center and can play guard and you can move guys around. And because you do have injuries and, if you have a couple of 2-3 injuries on your offensive line, if you don't have good depth, it can be devastating to your offense. And that's what the Packers love. And I mean, every NFL team does now. But the Packers have been doing this for a while where they just go back to when Stenovich took over the offensive line when Matt LaFleur first got here. And he was the offensive line coach. It was, man, he he wrapped his arms around it. It didn't matter who you put in. It was next man up, and they were like movable pieces. You could just manipulate it, moving them around, and you would have the same level of success for the most part. And they've been really, really good at that.
Well, and I think that's Goody also saying, like, of course we want guys who can do lots of different things because who knows how the season is going to go.
Right.
Right. I hear that sentiment over and over again in everything he says. It's like, we don't know who's going to get hurt. We don't know who's going to play well or not play well. Like there's no sense in planning for where we could slot guys in because we don't know. So of course we want guys who can do lots of different things.
Then this was the next comment from Brian Gutekunst.
Yeah, I think it's every draft class is different, right? I mean, it's out of your control. There's some that are deeper than others, where you're picking and how things fall. It's an interesting, in my time, I mean, the draft is much different than it used to be. I think on average, 1.6 players is re-signed from each draft class to a team. I mean, so it's not like it used to be where, you would have multiple guys. The way the salary cap is, the guys you can pay, it's just much harder. So, to me, I think we're asking of these guys that we pick is to come in and be positive contributors to our football team. And again, the role that they're going to have is not completely in their control. They got to be able to answer the opportunities that are given to them and try to create more opportunities. But where your football team sits and who's in front of them and those kind of things do impact their abilities. And certainly there was times, and I think in years past where, where maybe the last couple of years, there was just a ton of opportunities for these guys to go seize, and credit to them, they did. And that was exciting to see. And I think that's what we're trying to create as we move forward, is just making sure that there's always going to be opportunities for guys to excel if they're worthy of it.
And again, I want to get your thoughts on this, Bill, but when I heard that, it was the same as the last answer. It's like, well, who knows what opportunities these guys are going to have? Right. Because we don't know who's going to get hurt, who's going to play well. So how could we expect, we want 2 or 3 of the guys to start. Who knows, right? A guy could have an awesome season and not get a lot of opportunity just because that's how the season goes.
2 things stuck out to me in that comment. One is the fact that he said 1.6% of guys that are drafted sign a second contract with the team they're drafted by. So that was my first take. Is how many guys the Packers have had that have been good that have gotten a second contract, which is an attribute to the draft. I mean, if you've got guys that are signing second contracts and you're a general manager, that means you at least hit on more than a few guys. So that's the first thing that I thought. The second thing, 2 words came to mind. Josh Nijman. Do you know why? Play that clip again and then take a listen to what he's saying. And the first thing I thought was Josh Nijman.
Yeah, I think it's every draft class is different, right? I mean, it's out of your control. There's some that are deeper than others, where you're picking and how things fall. It's an interesting, in my time, I mean, the draft is much different than it used to be. I think on average, 1.6 players is re-signed from each draft class to a team. I mean, so it's not like it used to be where, you'd have multiple guys. The way the salary cap is, the guys you can pay, it's just much harder. So, to me, I think we're asking of these guys that we pick is to come in and be positive contributors to our football team. And again, the role that they're going to have is not completely in their control. They got to be able to answer the opportunities that are given to them and try to create more opportunities. But where your football team sits and who's in front of them and those kind of things do impact their abilities. And certainly there was times, and I think in years past where, where maybe the last couple of years, there was just a ton of opportunities for these guys to go seize, and credit to them, they did. And that was exciting to see. And I think that's what we're trying to create as we move forward, is just making sure that there's always going to be opportunities for guys to excel if they're worthy of it.
So do you get what I'm saying now? First of all, 1.6 players throughout the league sign a second contract with the team they're drafted by. But when he started talking about players are going to have opportunities, but it's not always in their control. So when you're given the opportunity, Whatever that may be, we want guys to be ready, basically saying, we want you to have a good attitude because you never know when you're going to play and you never know when you're not going to play. And you may not be playing the position that you think you should be playing. So have a good attitude. And that the first thing I thought of was, that's the reason Josh Nijman isn't here anymore. Josh played so well at left tackle a couple of years ago. And then they moved him to right tackle, and it's like he had an attitude. And remember last year they said, you know, they were kind of talking about Josh, and well, Josh, he's got a lot of work to do. He's got to, you know, we got to see more effort. And they were kind of talking him down. It's because he took an attitude. He thought he was going to be the big paid, the big money man left tackle, and he didn't get it. And he took an attitude. He's not with the team anymore. They get rid of him. That was the first thing I thought of when he said that. Was what they're looking. If you again, sometimes people kind of roll their eyes at the pressers and they go, "Oh no, whatever." He's yada yada yada, and I'm like, "No, take a listen to what he's saying," because what he's saying is there's going to be guys that are going to be drafted, and they're going to come in here and think that they're the next whatever left tackle, starting middle linebacker, starting strong safety, starting weak side safety, whatever, and you may be a corner asked to play safety. That's not necessarily your forte, but we're going to ask you to do it. And what you do and where you play, it's out of your control, man. So we're looking for guys that are ready to go, that have the attitude. They just want to be football players. They want to go road grade somebody, run over somebody, win the man-to-mans, and be effective for the team, not just for themselves. And if you excel, that's when he kind of throws in that 1.6 players re-sign with that team, that maybe you get that shot with this team at that second contract.
Well, this is Adam Stenovich. This is really brief, but this is when he was asked about how Zach Tom's playing right tackle, Rasheed Walker's left tackle. So what's up with Zach Tom? And this was his answer last year. I'm sure you remember this. If I can get it to play, I swear I've used a computer before.
Yeah, right now he's a backup tackle for us, and that's where he's at. And football is a very competitive sport, and some guys rise to that competition and some guys don't. So that's basically all I have to say about that.
There you go. That's him talking about Josh Nijman. He's backup tackle for us. That's it. He took an attitude and they noticed it, and that's the reason he's not with the team. I love the fact that and again, this goes back to yesterday when he said, I want to create competition at many of the spots. And then he talked about Cooper DeJean. He said he can do both safety and corner. And he's got good hands as well, and he's very well rounded. It would then round out our group if indeed we went in that direction. Creating competition in training camp is always a good thing. Then he was asked specifically about the wide receiving core, and he's like, it's not a need. But he said, in the wide receiving room, they've got competition already, but we're only a few injuries away from being shorthanded. Competition is needed. So when people said his first portion of it, when he said, well, that room has competition already, everybody took that as they're not taking a wide receiver. What he's saying is we might, because we're only a couple of injuries away from actually being really in need. So I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility of them getting a wide receiver. We're late for a break. Got to take a break. We'll come back. We'll get more into this. But it's when you sit down and break a lot of it down, it's some fascinating stuff. So stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Boondocks Barbecue Burgers and Brews out there on County Road K in Oconomowoc. Great barbecue. They got a big smoker out there. Do such a tremendous job. And they just opened the patio. The patio is now open, and if you want to go, if it's nice out, go sit on the patio. It's beautiful. The kind of the landscaping they did on the front of that building, it's just awesome. And the staff is always friendly. It's always great. Good place to go in and look at all the TVs that they have. But they've also got a room in the back that's dedicated to veterans. So if you walk in and you're a veteran or a military member and you say, hey, are you guys crowded? We like to eat, maybe not at a bar. You say, hey, I'm a military member, and they'll take you back to the military room. The military room is reserved for military members and veterans. They keep that open for you. So that's great stuff. That's our friends at Boondocks Barbecue Burgers and Brews, County Road K in Oconomowoc. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Beautify your entertainment space with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Turn your ordinary space into something extraordinary with brand new Pella windows. The luxurious look, sleek design, and custom colors available is guaranteed to give your home the extra pop to entertain and keep you comfortable. At Pella, we see windows differently. We have the highest rated energy efficient products and a complete range of durable, functional, and high quality products that bring out the best of your home. Plus, getting the perfect windows and doors for your home has never been easier. Right now, get 0% interest for up to 36 months. Or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months if you book before April 30th. That's right, get 0% interest for up to 36 months, or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months. If you book before April 30th, take ownership of your living space and make it a place worth living with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. Hey, coming up, May 3rd, if you're looking for something to do coming up on the weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, May 3rd, it's a Friday night. The Four Seasons Island Resort, great place up north on the beautiful Muscano Island. They have a tequila dinner. Raises an eyebrow, doesn't it? That is going to come up on Friday night, May 3rd, and you can go up, enjoy yourself, sit back, relax, have the tequila dinner, stay the weekend, unwind, unplug. It's a great resort. It's a great place. Enjoy the diamond room, enjoy the lounge, enjoy the sports bar downstairs. That is the Four Seasons Island Resort up in Pembine, Wisconsin. Beautiful place. But they have the tequila dinner coming up next Friday night. It's not sold out just yet. 715-938-5110. Or if you don't do tequila, that's fine. They have regular dinners. You can go enjoy yourself. But 715-938-5110. Tell them you heard it here. You get 15% off of your room rate. 715-938-5110. Four Seasons Island Resort in Pembine, Wisconsin. Final hour, the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, it's game day for the Bucks. They're going to face Indiana again tonight in game 2 of their best-of-7 series. Milwaukee took the first game without Giannis Antetokounmpo as he deals with a calf strain. They will almost certainly play without the two-time MVP again tonight as he is listed as doubtful on the injury report. Veteran Chris Middleton was asked how they can get it done.
Collective effort. I mean, even when it comes back, we'll have to do that as a group. But knowing that one of your main guys is out one of the best players in the league, it's not going to be easy. So everybody has to, step up to the plate, do a little bit more, but not by themselves.
The Bucks looking to take a 2-0 series lead before things shift to Indiana for games 3 and 4. Tip tonight is at 7:30. Turning to the Brewers, they will also be back in action tonight in Pittsburgh as they look to bounce back from a loss in the series opener last night. The team now down several starting pitchers after having to put Wade Miley on the 15-day IL with left elbow inflammation yesterday. First pitch tonight is at 5:40.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
We're just 2 days out from the start of the NFL draft. Things get going Thursday night in Detroit. Packers on the 25th pick of the first round, 11 picks overall. GM Brian Gutekunst said yesterday that they have the ammunition to move around if they want, but he'd like to end up with 12 or 13 picks in an ideal world. Again, the first round starts Thursday. And Wisconsin, nearing the end of spring practice, they were on the field for practice number 11 of 15 this morning in Madison, back out there on Thursday morning. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Good day. Good to have you. All that kind of good stuff. Yes. Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on this, now sunny Tuesday. I think the warmer it gets, the more ferocious the storms may be. At least that was the prediction earlier today when I woke up and was listening to the news. But right now, all is well with the world, and it's sunny, it's bright, a little bit of a breeze. So I will take it. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends at Quick Trip. And at Quick Trip right now, they have got the tubs of ice cream, whether it's vanilla or chocolate. They've got them on special right now at Quick Trip. You can pick those up, which those things are just awesome this time of year. You just grab those and say, like, hell yeah, go face first into those things. As a matter of fact, they're $4.99 right now, limit 2. But the big thing is, if you go to the website, go to quicktrip.com/ballpark for all the details, you can turn every dollar you spend into the possibility of getting a Brewers ticket, which is not a bad way to go. So you go to right now, you go to quicktrip.com/ballpark. And for every $200 you spend at Quick Trip, you're also going to earn yourself a free ticket to a Brewers game, to the Brewers game of your choice. And let's just say you get the ticket and you're like, I love this game, but man, I'd like to get better seats. So you can take the value of that ticket, trade it in, and then pay the difference. So not a bad way to go. All you got to do is go to Quick Trip. We go to Quick Trip all the time. I mean, I've racked up. I could probably take the entire listening audience to a Brewers game as much as I go to Quick Trip. Great stuff from our friends over there at Quick Trip. Always love it. Always love it. Based right here in our own backyard, and that is La Crosse, Wisconsin. Great stuff. So draft news. We'll do a lot of Packer-centric chatter this hour. And if you want to get a hold of us, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can also track us down and text us on the text line, which is now open, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. You can find us there. Hit us up over on Twitter, X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels, at Wisco Grant as well. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, The Bill Michaels Show. 4 words, stick them all together. There you have it. YouTube, just simply Bill Michaels Show. Bill Michaels Show on YouTube. Please subscribe. It's absolutely positively free. We're full of crap, so we would never charge for that. And you can find us on the Twitch app and on the Kick app and on LinkedIn as well. Then email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, thebillmichaels.com is the website, and you can find all the links to all the stuff that I just told you there. And then the Zone Madison app. You download it, you take us anywhere and everywhere. And you can also find us after the fact on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and wherever you find your favorite podcast. It's that simple. So any news and notes regarding the draft, as a matter of fact?
I have a note on each of the top 3 picks. Well, after Chicago, because we all think that Caleb Williams is going number 1. He's plus 20,000 or minus 20,000. So just exclude the first overall pick. Let's do the number 2. The latest from Diana Rossini. This is from 2 hours ago. Teams are trying to move up for a quarterback and calling Washington. They're being told they're not moving. Washington's GM Adam Peters has publicly stated that the Commanders feel great about staying at 2 and picking their QB. So we can put pick number 1 out of sight, out of mind. Pick number 2. Who do you think the Commanders are going to take? Who would you take if you were number 2?
Jaden Daniels.
Really?
I think they're getting a better quarterback. Yeah, Caleb Williams is going number 1. We all know that. So the next pick in the draft, unless you are just a magnanimous Drake May fan, I think Jaden Daniels is going 2. And then 3 is the Patriots. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Then Drake May, unless they decide to trade out of that. And then 4th is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going to go as the wide out to Arizona. And after that, let the chips fall where they may. You're going to see a lot of furious trading at that point to try to get J.J. McCarthy.
Diana Rossini yesterday about the Patriots at 3 said they're listening and taking calls. And while Elliot Wolf is running point, she's told that Patriots president Jonathan Kraft is heavily involved in the decision making.
Right.
What do you make of all that?
I would think that they are. I think the Patriots know they're in a rebuild. They're in a massive rebuild. They're not in a win now. So if you don't get a quarterback this year, so be it. Because you're in a rebuild. I think what they're doing is they're going to be cautious, and they're going to if somebody blows them away with an offer, I think they'll trade out at 3. Just because otherwise you're not in a win now mode. What do you got to take a quarterback at 3 who probably doesn't deserve that value? Why would you take them now? I mean, there's going to be some downtime in New England. You've had a hell of a run under Bill Belichick. The last few years, suck swamp water. But you let Bill Belichick drive the car into the ditch, and now you got to rebuild because you're not going to win. We all know you're not winning this year. So now you start the rebuild. And I think if I'm the Patriots, I'm looking at this going, do we want more first-round picks that we can really excel? Or do you need a quarterback to build around? And then you have to ask yourself, do you believe Drake May is that guy? And is he the value of a 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft? Because if you believe he is, then you take him. And then you've got what you believe to be your quarterback of the future. But if you don't think he is, no way. No way. Then I think what you do is you trade back, you get 2 or 3 first-round picks, and you just struggle through the year. You'll be up there again next year. You might have another shot at a quarterback, but you're going to have draft capital to move. So you may be able to get the guy. And that's kind of the way I would look at it if I'm the Patriots.
Am I the only one who thinks, you tell me if I'm wrong, having a de facto GM, they have an interim GM in Elliott Wolf. He is carrying the GM title, but he has not been anointed the long-term guy. He's not been given this job.
Right.
And the trial run is, hey, we have the 3rd overall pick and we'd like to get our franchise quarterback. Don't mess it up. I just feel like that's asking for trouble. Because again, we've talked about this, Bill. I think the biggest advantage in football is a general manager and a head coach with job security, because they can actually make good decisions and not have to worry about saving their skin.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this whole owner and fake GM tag teaming a really important pick. I think it's a really bad process. I think it's silly.
Too. I do too. I will never forget sitting down with Bob Harlan when, and this was like completely during our first meeting, when we were talking about the turnaround of the Packers and going through 92 and 93 and 94, building up, getting Favre, getting Reggie, building up to what they did. And I said, what was your vision? And he said, as the president, which is you're kind of the de facto owner, he said, hire football people to do football things and get the hell out of their way. So when you have a vested interest owner looking over your shoulder, now everybody's got an answer to an owner. Everybody has to, or somebody higher than him. I understand that. But if you don't trust the people, the football people you have in place, then you just remove them. Don't even bring them in. I think it's a recipe for disaster. And that's what, growing up in Cincinnati, that's what we lived with as Bengals fans. And they struck a couple of times. You know, Paul Brown was the GM, and Paul got that team turned around. And then in 1980, they went to the Super Bowl with Ken Anderson and Pete Johnson and all those guys. And then they turned it around again when Sam Weiss took over. And Sam Weiss and Mike Brown was not his dad after Paul had died, and he was always had his hand in it. He was always the owner, the general manager, and Sam said, I'm not dealing with it. This is what we're going to do. Take it or leave it, or I'm leaving. And that's what Marvin Lewis did for a while too. That's why Marvin had a little bit of success. He just couldn't get him to spend more money to go over the top. And then they got Joe Burrow, and then Mike, who is now, I think, 147 years old and still wearing the same clothes. When he finally relinquished his title, if you will, to his daughter, Katie, and Katie hired a general manager, and they actually have a GM in there now. That's when that thing started to take off. I lived it. When you have an owner / president / GM, it's very difficult to find success because you don't let the football people do football things. And look at what Jerry Jones has done. Jerry Jones fell in love with Dak Prescott, knew it all along. Dak's not the guy. But you kept paying him and overpaying him and overpaying him, and now you're stuck. You $55 million that clown's going to get this year. And he doesn't win in the postseason. So more power to him. You know, hey, keep throwing money, good money after bad. But I agree with you. I think Elliott Wolf has paid enough of his dues. Let him go. Let him run with it and make some decisions and be football people in football places.
Well, yeah, or don't, or hire the guy you like more.
Right,
I don't care who the GM is, but pick one, especially in a draft that this is this important for the Patriots. I think maybe it's an overcorrection. Like they let Bill Belichick do his thing unchecked for so long that the Crafts probably feel like, okay, we need to take back control of our franchise. Sure, take back control by hiring someone who's good at it and letting them do their job.
And here's the other thing. I mean, which sounds very similar to what went on here in Green Bay after Ted. Because Mark Murphy did exactly what Bob Harlan said. Just
good point.
Hire them, get out of the way. Let them do their thing. Let football people do their thing. And that's when all the fans started yelling, well, Bob was great. Bob would have never Bob would have let it happen for a while because Bob allowed everybody to do their job. And if you had a down year, he allowed you to correct it. And that's what Mark Murphy, it wasn't like Ted was terrible for a decade. Ted was probably not good for about 2 to 3 years. It could have happened a year earlier where they removed him, but not that much earlier. He still made decent picks. They didn't pull the trigger on some of the free agents that they probably should have brought in, but he was also paying Aaron Rodgers. So it's very familiar. And I get it.
And remember, after Ted left, Mark Murphy came up and said, okay, everyone's going to answer to me now. So that there was a little bit of taking back. He broke down those silos between coach and GM, and he took more of the responsibility. He took responsibility for what the GM and coach were doing, but he didn't do their jobs for them, which I think is maybe what a little bit of what's going on with Jonathan Kraft. One more note before we move on. There's a Vikings report. Now, we know they got an extra first. They're looking to jump up. But Charles Robinson of Yahoo reported this, said the Vikings firmly believe that if the Patriots take May, that the Vikings are fully comfortable standing down in trade talks and using one of their 2 first-round picks, either 11 or 23, to select Oregon quarterback Bo Nix, who had a private workout for the Vikings earlier this month. So the Vikings saying, okay, if no one wants to trade with us, we're fine. We're good. We'll take another guy.
Right.
Or at least they're putting that out there.
Or at least throwing it out there, which also at this time of year is, Brian Gutekunst said so eloquently yesterday that this is the time for subterfuge. So, they may be saying that to say, hey, we're looking at somebody else. Don't take us at our word, or maybe take us at our word. We're going to go in that direction or a different direction. So we'll see. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to get to. Talking some draft and draft notes right now. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. I'm telling you, they got not only great deals going on right now, 0% for up to 60 months, but you know me, I love the product. Just absolutely positively love it. So when you're talking about putting maybe new windows or new doors in your home, I do it for numerous reasons. One, economically. Okay, first and foremost, this past year, just alone, the amount of money that saved me from the heat not exiting the great room was fantastic, or the cold coming in was fantastic. Number 2, safety. Every night you lay your head down. I got patio windows and doors all over the joint, okay? And you just walk through, you make sure they're all locked, and nobody's getting in unless they come crashing through the window. Just doesn't happen. They got the toe kick at the bottom, the latches up top, all that stuff. They're great. Then you've got the windows with beautification, curb appeal, ease of use, security, different hardware, different innovations, slider windows, roll screens. I'm going to babble on and on and on. But right now, just announced 0%, 60 months, or no down payment, no interest, no payments for 24 months. Pick it. It gives you the option to whatever it is you'd like to do. You got to sign the contract, though, by May 10th. So that's the only kind of stipulation to the whole deal. But why not? Schedule that free in-home consultation, free, by the way, to come out and look around your house, and they'll tell you what it is. You can pick the budget, the windows, all that kind of stuff. Vinyl, impervia, wood, 3 different styles of wood windows. They got it all. That's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Right now, 0%, 60 months, or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. You pick it, your choice. Go to PellaWI.com. That's PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Beautify your entertainment space with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Turn your ordinary space into something extraordinary with brand new Pella windows. The luxurious look, sleek design, and custom colors available is guaranteed to give your home the extra pop to entertain and keep you comfortable. At Pella, we see windows differently. We have the highest rated energy efficient products and a complete range of durable, functional, and high quality products that bring out the best of your home. Plus, getting the perfect windows and doors for your home has never been easier. Right now, get 0% interest for up to 36 months. Or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months if you book before April 30th. That's right, get 0% interest for up to 36 months, or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months. If you book before April 30th, take ownership of your living space and make it a place worth living with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Yeah! Hey, I'll tell you right now. Think of this, okay? You're heading downtown tonight. You're going to be heading over to the Fiserv Forum at some point, checking out Bucks basketball. And in addition to that, you're thinking, man, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to grab something to eat, right? So what you do, you listen up, what you do is you head over to Calderon Club, Old World 3rd Street, right there on the corner, right across the street from the Hyatt Hotel. You park just behind Calderon Club, okay? You park right behind them, and then you just walk right over. You walk right, you eat, walk to the Calderon Club, you eat, you have a great time. Food is fantastic. And then what you do is you walk right over a couple of blocks away, Fiserv Forum, you go enjoy yourself, enjoy the game, and you're good to go. That's our friends at the Calderon Club. Or if you really get crazy on me, then maybe what you do is you go next door to San Giorgio, where you get the authentic Napolitana Pizzeria. Again, both places, 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee, right across the street from the Hyatt. If you want spaghetti and meatballs, you want a little spicy penne, you want to get the thin crust pizza, you want to get the chicken marsala, the eggplant for the appetizer. Oh, so good. Or the pizza's next door. You can't go wrong, either place. But before or after the game tonight, there you go. That makes it a night. I'm going to be down there on Friday night. I'm losing weight, but I got to go face first into that stuff. We're going to a Broadway show on Friday night. I know I'm not normally the Broadway guy, but Kristen has been begging me. She always said if Tina Turner ever decided to tour again, since we met, that she wanted to go see her. That's one thing she's wanted to see is Tina Turner. And, well, Tina died. So Tina's not touring anymore. That's usually what happens when you croak. So then they've got the Broadway show called Tina. It's the story of her life. So I said, you know what? Second best thing. So I'm going to take her to Tina on a Friday night. And you better believe that we're getting up early, heading down, Calderon Club, face first, getting all that carb in you. You know, you get that good, that base going. And that way, when you're sitting in there, if the show's great, you're awake. If it's not, then you kind of, you look around when the lights go down, you unbuckle your pants, you lean back, you're like, oh, yeah, oh, this is good. Just watch Tina, close your eyes. And then when it's over, just wake me up. You're good to go. But that's our friends at Calderon Club. You're not going to get any better food. You're just not. Hell yeah. As a matter of fact, I just saw the officials in there for the NBA. They were just in there the other day. Tim McGraw and his staff were in there the other day. Who else was in town? They had another band that was in town that rented out the place. I mean, it's just so well known. That's where they go. That's where everybody goes. It's that good food. And I've always said, you're always going to see a face in there. That's Calderon Club. Calderon Club in San Giorgio, 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee. Stop in and tell them I said hi. Let's see here. What else do we have here for you? So we've got that Bo Nix could possibly be the guy in Minnesota. We know that maybe they might be trading out, depending on what the value is, for that 3rd overall pick, whether it's Drake May or, they decide to go in a different direction, being the New England Patriots. Here's my question, and I have not seen the full renderings yet. Here's my question, though. Are the Bears doing the right thing? Because it's Caleb Williams. We all know that. Unless they are putting up one incredible BS front, which if they ended up taking, say, Jaden Daniels, Ryan Poles would be the best poker player in the history of poker because nobody's seeing this coming, right? So, but if they take Caleb Williams, are they making a mistake? And if you're a Bears fan, I want to hear from you. But are they making a mistake? I mean, as Packers fans, we'd like to think so, right? But are they making a mistake? And then here's the other side of the coin. This is about a weird decision. Did you see that the Bears are unveiling new plans for a dome stadium where Soldier Field is, Grant?
I saw they were announcing plans for a Riverside Stadium project district thing.
Yeah. I think it's where Soldier Field is. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe they keep Soldier Field and give it to the Parks Department, and then they build another stadium in a different area. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. But they bought all that land up near Arlington, near the track. They bought all of that land. It's like, what are you going to do with it if you're not building a stadium there? Again, I guess you could gut it and develop it and still have all that money go to the Chicago Bears Incorporated, I guess. But what are they doing with all that land if they don't go? Because we had Brad Biggs on earlier this year, and I said, Brad, are they moving? And he said, if you don't buy all that land to let it sit. So, I mean, even he was under the impression that the Bears were going to be leaving downtown Chicago. And maybe the mayor has convinced them, or business leaders have convinced them for some kind of massive tax break or something to stay in the city. But another dome stadium. So the Green Bay Packers will be the only team in the division without a dome stadium. Now, two things. One is, okay, I can live with that, doing what we do. I don't mind it, whatever, okay? However, at least this time, when they build this stadium, you got to assume that whoever did the renovation of that dump down there will go, oh, yeah, we got to put media in here. Because that place, Soldier Field, is the epitome of dump. It is a dump. And the rumor is, the story is, and if you've ever seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about, but that they forgot about the media. And they had built all these suites and they went, oh, crap. And so they had to gut the suites and put connecting doors in and all that stuff because they forgot about the media. And it looks like it because it's so cramped and so tiny and so makeshift. There's a lot of believability to that story. I mean, you go anywhere to any renovated stadium or new stadium, there is clearly a defined press box and workspace for when we have to go to these games. And in Chicago, there's not. It's a dump. It really is. So they've made so many dumb mistakes. You just wonder if getting Caleb Williams is going to be another dumb mistake. I know we hope so, but you wonder if it's going to be another dumb mistake. Cross your fingers. Have you seen the renderings of this new stadium that the Bears are supposed to put together?
I saw renderings of what like a roofed version of Soldier Field would be like, but they're talking about building something completely new with this announcement, right?
I guess. The Bears have announced, they unveiled, let's see here, 20 hours ago. The Chicago Bears announced plans, to announce plans tomorrow. I thought it was today. It's tomorrow for a new domed stadium on the lakefront. On the lakefront. The Bears are going to have, it's noon tomorrow, Central Time, to announce plans for a new dome stadium. I hate the Chicago Tribune. You can't even read anything, even the half of a story.
I have the statement. I have the statement from the Bears. It's just a couple details if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, because I got pop-ups from the Chicago Tribune, and it sucks magnanimously.
It's very brief, so I'm not going to ramble here. It just says the Bears, in collaboration with officials and stakeholders in the city, will hold a press conference Wednesday to announce their plans for a state-of-the-art, publicly owned, enclosed stadium, along with additional green and open spaces with access to the lakefront for families and fans on the museum campus. It's the whole statement.
Okay, so it's up on the museum campus. So it's a block up or 2 blocks up?
I'll have to pop open Google Maps. The publicly owned thing is what's interesting to me. So is this the first step in asking for public money to get this thing going? I'm assuming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they'll go after, which, they're taxed down there. They don't care. But we're going to find out what it's going to look like. But yeah, new stadium, It's, by the way, it is a $2 billion stadium. 1.5.
Owned, I guess.
Right.
I don't know how that would work, but that's a lot of money. Well, Jerry World, when was that built?
But that was 20 years ago? Jerry World, at least.
The museum campus is it looks like, according to Google Maps, it's right there. So it's pretty close to the current site. Yeah.
So in other words, next to the current Soldier Field. So next to Soldier Field, in that area, which is still by the harbor. And I wonder what does SoFi cost? Because SoFi and Allegiant are the two new big ones. And as far as stadiums go,
$5.5 billion.
Wow.
According to the first search that I have, 5 to 6 billion estimation.
So I wonder if this $2 billion stadium, which again, here we go. Think about this for a minute. The monstrosity that is the renovated Soldier Field is an embarrassment. It's the smallest stadium in the league, and it is a giant piece of crap. And they paid, at the time, to renovate it, I think it was $657 million. $657 million. At the same time, the Packers renovated Lambeau Field for $265 million. And look at the difference between the stadiums. You can see that on one, they actually spent the money. On the other one, that the legislators and all the thieves down there took the money and then they put up that piece of crap. So if you're talking about SoFi being a $5 billion stadium and Allegiant being $3-4 billion stadium, and they're going to put up a $2 billion stadium, what kind of stadium are they building? Or are the Bears putting up another? Because I can't imagine the Bears are saying, hey, we'll put up $1 billion. I can't imagine that. So I would assume it's going to be all publicly funded. It's a $2 billion project. Yeah, it's a new dome stadium to the lakefront. and they paid $197 million for the former Arlington Heights racetrack area, which is 326 acres and easily accessible by the public. Public transportation goes there. The minute they bought it, crews began the demolition shortly after. And analysts were predicting that the Bears Entertainment District in the northwestern suburb could generate 48,000 jobs and rake in $9.5 million for local economy a year. And the Bears and 3 local school districts have been battling over the property taxes since that property was sold. Now, the press conference scheduled for tomorrow for the Bears to make some type of an announcement to see if it actually happens. But that's still a chunk of change to just go and spend on the Arlington Heights area. So anyway, we went way off topic, but the Bears are going to make the announcement on some type of a new stadium, and we'll see what actually takes hold.
The thought of the Bears fighting a local school district over who has to pay property taxes it's just funny to me. That's really funny to me.
I know.
Whoever's right it is to actually pay the property taxes is secondary. It's just that legal battle just makes me laugh.
By the way, out of the 608, it says, way off topic, Bill, but a while ago you were talking about classic Packers jerseys. I went and bought this one. It's a Lynn Dickey jersey. I love it. It's got a picture of it. Got a picture of him holding up a Lynn Dickey jersey. I'll send it over to Lynn. Lynn will appreciate that. Hell yeah. Lynn Dickey jersey. Nice. Austin from Virginia says, is it the Weller 107 with the red label? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's the stuff that I bought up in northern Wisconsin. The red label. Yeah, I got the red label and the green label. I've got both of them. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can go ahead and hit us up if you choose to do so. Give us a shout. We would love to hear from you. This portion of our program brought to you by our fine friends out there in La Crosse, Buzzard Billy's. And I was just seeing some of the margaritas they were making up with the Buzzard Billy's pint glasses. Oh, making me thirsty. But Buzzard Billy's, Pearl Street in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Upstairs, they do some fine cocktails. Starlight Lounge as well. Either place, you cannot go wrong, whether it's just grabbing food and watching a game, date night, fish fry, you name it. Buzzard Billy's downstairs, Starlight Lounge upstairs, Pearl Street, La Crosse, Wisconsin. Stop in, tell them we said hi. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Bill Michaels Show. We got a couple of segments to go before we have to get out of here. Great stuff as always. Hey, by the way, if you are maybe you're heading downtown tonight for whatever reason, or maybe when the Brewers come back and you want to grab yourself maybe a Bloody Mary, a big burger, or maybe you're out in the Wisconsin or in the Waukesha area. Did you notice that Sobelman's has not one but 2 locations? Sobelman's does. Milwaukee on St. Paul Avenue, and then Waukesha on Williams Street. And that's a really nice place. If you've never been, it's right across the street from La Station. For those that don't know, it's on Williams Street in the Shaw, as they put it. But they still have the traditional, the great burgers, the big giant Bloody Marys, and it's just a really, really great staff. It's a lot of fun. So if you haven't ever been, Sobelman's Pub and Grill, Milwaukee, St. Paul Avenue, that's the original. Then there's one in Waukesha, right there on Williams Street, from across the street from La Station. So you get outside just a little bit of downtown Waukesha, and there it is. Sobelman's, we should catch up.
Sweetest Sobelman's.
Milwaukee and Waukesha. There you have it. Good stuff. All right, let's get back to it. I got got a couple of different things I want to get to. We got also, do we have anybody on hold? We got Chris still in Muskego?
Yeah, Chris is here. Let's talk to Chris.
Let's talk to Chris. He's been on hold a while. Chris, how you doing tonight, man? What's going on?
Hey, you keep going on. There's so many more topics I want to comment on.
Okay, that's fine. Just let it all hang out, man. Go.
Well, first with Giannis and Damian, personally, I think Jason Kidd, though he might have helped him in some ways, kind of screwed Giannis up, trying to get him to be the guy to bring down the ball down the court and try to be a guy who shoots 3 like the other guys in the NBA. I think Jason Kidd should have had Giannis more than anything, work on a 5 to 15-foot jumper. He would have been. I just can't imagine if he had that in his arsenal, what he would be totally unstoppable.
Right.
As far as the draft goes, I mean, I hopefully they keep punishing the line and both sides of the trenches. I don't see a real pronounced middle linebacker that's going to be available as far as worth the first and maybe even a second round. But I agree with you. If there's someone in the second, third, or fourth round that's a wide receiver and it's better than any of the 7 or 8 guys they already got on their roster, you got to pull the trigger, because if you can improve your weaponry, you got to. As far as the Bears go, I hope they get the kid from USC, because I think he's just going to fall on his face. I don't think he's very good at making decisions. You watch him at USC under the rush, he's throwing the ball to the wrong guys. It's like, yeah, come on, Chicago, do it one more time.
Yeah.
Let's go another 40 years before you have a good quarterback. I love it. I love it.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. I agree with you appreciate the phone call. I agree with you about Giannis. I think early on telling him he's going to handle the basketball and he's going to be the guy. I think that did give him this sense of that he's that guy, so to speak. And I agree with you on that. Then when you talk about the Bears and getting another quarterback that may not be their next coming, not that they've really had their first coming since Jim McMahon, but nevertheless, I don't know what Caleb Williams is going to be. I think that, don't you get the sense, Grant, that most people are like, oh yeah, you got to take Caleb Williams, but nobody has a definitive, he's going to be great.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to summarize it. Yeah, it's the right pick. We can't guarantee how it's going to work out, but I think most people would, say it's the right pick.
I get the sense that a lot of people are like, oh, you got to take him. He's best talent. You got to take him. You got to take him. And then when you say, well, is it guaranteed that he's going to be great? No. I think there's probably more skepticism. And mainly it's because of the amount of publicity that's being heaped upon him. So that I understand. But I think there's, maybe sometimes you just need to say, here's our board. Here's what we saw. We thought he was great 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Nothing's changed since then. He's still great. We're taking him. And you go with what your instinct was. But I think having all this time to think about it, I think people are now maybe overthinking it, or maybe everybody just overlooked Jaden Daniels the whole time. And now they're going, this guy's really good. We kind of forgot about him because we all got caught up in the media frenzy that was Caleb Williams. So I'm right there with you, man. I hope if they take Caleb Williams and he's Mitch Trubisky 2.0, or maybe even Justin Fields 2.0, man, that's at least 5 years, again, of toiling away, trying to figure out if he's the guy. That's another half a decade you're going to spend on this guy, because that's another number 1 pick, man. That's it. So we'll see. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free. Go ahead and give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. This one is from the 319. Said, did you see that Bill Belichick is going to be the draft analyst with Pat McAfee? What a combo. I did see that. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and I thought everybody went crazy over his background because he had all the Lombardi trophies that were, his in his house made behind him. So I did see that. I find it, I always, much like Marshawn Lynch, when these guys are jerks to the media, I mean, just crap, right? And then all of a sudden they're out of a job. Where do they go? Oh, I want to be in the media. I want commercials. I want to be in the media. I want to talk now. Now you want to talk? So I don't know. Don't know how I feel about it.
I saw some clips of him on the McAfee show last week, and it's like, I've never heard him sound like that before.
Right.
Never. He sounded like a brand new human being.
Right.
Like that's a fake Bill Belichick.
Yeah. Oh, look, if you know anybody that knows Bill Belichick, they all say the same thing. He's a really good guy. He's got a dry sense of humor. He's funny. He's articulate. He's open. if you know him and if he lets you in. But he's just such a D-bag as a head coach. Just so is. From the 715 that says, if the defensive backs start dropping quick, do you see the Packers packaging their first and on their second round picks to move up? No, I don't. Not unless they really covet one guy. No, I don't. That's just not in the first round. Maybe later, but not in the first round. No, I just don't see them doing that. Because that would leave big offensive tackles for them. They're in the catbird seat. I mean, they do need secondary guys, but no, I don't. I see them saying, okay, if there's going to be a run on guys in the secondary, then we're going to have our cream of the crop choice of a big offensive tackle that can be the next David Bakhtiari. So I can see them going in that direction. Robin Stoddard said, Bill is a Bears fan. I'm hoping they don't screw up the quarterback position and think that think they take Caleb Williams, but I'm also prepared for them to do something stupid like drafting J.J. McCarthy instead. As far as I'm concerned, Bears football should be played outside, not in a dome. Rob and Stoddard. Rob, I agree with you. But I got to admit, I do have to admit that U.S. Bank Stadium is nice. Ford Field is nice. It's nice. And now, granted, as a media member, we're inside. But I remember some of the coldest games I've ever covered with the windows open in the broadcast booth were over at Soldier Field. I understand it. It makes the whole experience that much better. And people want to go inside as opposed to sitting outside and tailgating, which means they're going to go inside and spend more money on hot dogs and beer and sodas and all that crap. So I understand it. You know, the 847 says Chicago is a dump. That I would go with. I like that. And the 414 says, hey, Bill, what's the best restaurant in Cincinnati? Oh, well, it depends on what you're going for. I mean, if you're going for fine dining, I go to the Precinct. The Precinct is considered one of the top 10 steakhouses in the entire country. It's incredible food and incredible service. They've got the new steakhouse in downtown Cincinnati. That's good too. But I think the Precinct is the cream of the crop. I love Montgomery Inn, which is a great rib place and barbecue and burgers and stuff, but it's in a really nice setting and it's right on the Ohio River and it's a beautiful setup. Montgomery Inn is fantastic. And I'd go there, sit at the bar, watch the barges go by and eat Saratoga chips and barbecue sauce all day long until my pants didn't fit. Now, if you're going for fast food, Skyline Chili. That's where I go. Skyline. So when I go home, I literally run the gauntlet. And that is Skyline, Penn Station cheesesteak and subs, and then La Rosa's Pizza and La Rosa's Subs. And then if I really get creative, I go through the drive-through and I go to Trotta's Pizza because that to me has been the best pizza I've ever put in my mouth as long as I've been alive. Short of maybe like San Giorgio and the Napolitana pizza over at San Giorgio because it's different. But Trotta's Pizza is just, I don't know what they put in that dough, man, but boy, that stuff is fantastic. So there you go. Hopefully I've helped you out. And afterwards, go to Grater's Ice Cream. Grater's has some of the best ice cream there is. There you go. Hopefully I helped you out. Stay tuned. Bill Michaels Show. We wrap it up. That's coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, bang it, rock it, put it in the pocket.
Put it in the pocket. Till tomorrow, anyway. Great stuff today on the program. Thanks to Ross Tucker for being here, man. Ross is always a wealth of information, and he knows it. He delivers it, man. Great stuff. By the way, don't forget about myfrontpagestory.com, myfrontpagestory.com, and check out for Mother's Day. It's a tremendous, tremendous gift. It really, really is. Myfrontpagestory.com, and it will have your mom balling. She will just, that will go on her wall, and she will never take it down. It's just an awesome, awesome thing. So myfrontpagestory.com. And also thanks to our buddy Chuck Freeman for joining us, talking a little Brewers baseball with us. Brewers having some pitching issues right now. So we'll see if they're able to kind of overcome and what happens there. The Brewers looking to, after last night's loss, looking to start a new win streak. Get one today, be nice, and maybe get the next one in the series and then win another series, and also beat a team that's, not far behind you when it comes to the standings. So that would be good. But our eyes are going to be on NBA hoops tonight. Bucks at home taking on the Pacers, Fiserv Forum, 7:30 Central Time is when that one gets underway tonight. By the way, it's on NBA TV. NBA TV is where you can find it. Now, tonight, it is on Bally's, just so you know. So for those that think it's only on NBA, it is on NBA TV, but if you don't have Bally's, then you're screwed. But it is on Bally's tonight. I wanted to make sure we got that for you. Brewers game is going to be on Bally's 2, Bally's Sports Channel, Wisconsin 2, which if you're looking at, say, like on, what is it, Spectrum? I think it's 1309 and 1310. 1310 will be the Brewers game. 1309 will be the Bucks game. So those games will be on tonight. So you do have an ability to at least see those games rather than just paying attention to it on NBA TV. But both of those games will be there. And then tomorrow we'll be back at it to talk about it all over again. Hopefully the Bucks are up 2-0 and Giannis gets to rest even more, and that'd be fantastic. So that'll do it. Good stuff today. Good stuff today. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. And who knows what will happen tomorrow? Who knows? We'll figure it out then. But hopefully we're talking about 2 wins, and we're back at it. and enjoying ourselves, basking in the glow of success yet again. I'm hoping. Cross your fingers. Until we talk again, 20 hours from now.